We are going
हाँ
to try
बोलो
and do
अब.
it as broadly as we can,
ठीक
because
है.
otherwise we're just going to end up taking a long time. I've actually done research like 5 minutes before Dhruv sent the link, and thus I have an actual like write up to introduce the
Nice.
episode.
सही है.
Wow.
तो शुरू करें.
जादू मंतर, जादू मंतर, जादू मंतर. You are going into the future.
The watching the Dhruv films was Dhoom films was immediately.
Dhruv films?
Pathaan.
Sir, what MMS of Dhruv have you been sitting and watching? What is this new age?
I don't even want to imagine a 7-foot tall man doing something that is recorded on an MMS. I am sorry.
वो distance से shoot करेंगे sir on a 65 mm lens.
Long wide shot.
Very David Lean.
Pre-David Lean.
You talking to me?
Ain't always BB clothing.
The queen is dead.
Hello. Welcome to Queen is Dead. I am Varun. I have with me Cris and Amartya. We are missing Mr. Dhruv Krishna Goyal, who doesn't want to hang out with us and talk about these movies, which is a shame. It tells you what a snob he is, elitist chap. Anyway, we are also missing Hemant, who was supposed to be here but has decided that like running errands for his wife is more important than a podcast about YRF movies. I don't know, Hemant, where your priorities lie in life. I would suggest corrective measures at the earliest. But yeah, we are going to be talking about two Yash Raj Films franchises, the 3 Dhoom films and the 7 YRF Spy Universe films. This is all in lead up to the 7th, which releases a week from now, Alpha. So one part of the episode is going to be dedicated to that film, even though I don't know if any of us have great expectations of it. Some of us may even have prejudged it. But I was the one who instigated this episode because I said there's something interesting to note in the decline of the quality of work a leading studio in the country has been putting out in the action adventure sort of adjacent space in like two diverse genres. One is like supposed to be heists, one is supposed to be more thriller-esque if you've never watched a thriller in your life. Yash Raj Films, of course, is known better for its romantic films, but they've made a fair few action films, starting with Kala Patthar all the way back, followed by stuff like Sawal and Mashal, and eventually Vijay in 1988, which was directed by Yash Chopra. That was the last action film they made for 16 years till Sanjay Gadhvi decided to make Dhoom. Dhoom released in 2004, followed by Dhoom 2 in 2006, and Dhoom 3 in 2013. The Spy Universe is a retroactive creation of which is like created with using two disparate Yash Raj Films properties, which are the Tiger films starring Salman Khan and War, which starred Hrithik Roshan, and fusing them together somewhere down the line, I think in Pathaan, which was the Shah Rukh Khan film from 2023. This is not going to be an exhaustive episode. We're not going to sit and bellyache about each of these movies because honestly, some of them don't deserve it at all. What we are trying to understand is how these films were of a certain entertainment value at some point, what the drop off has been like, what are some key almost trends that we identify. Music, I think, is a major takeaway from that, where music just goes and falls off a cliff, much like John Abraham at the end of the first Doom, and never really comes
He
back.
falls off a cliff in Pathaan also.
No, he falls off a welcome-esque house. I mean, it is on a cliff,
But he's hanging.
like
he's on a cliff only.
in Dhoom, I think it happens with a lot of, as he
Flair.
says in Dhoom, actually.
जो भी करेंगे स्टाइल से करेंगे.
the style is very important, and I think that is another thing that is very interesting, is that some of these films are really well made, even if their entertainment value in itself is quite dodgy.
Hmm.
A lot of these films recently are very, very shabbily made, as though they are made by a knockoff of Yash Raj Films, maybe called Aditya Chopra Films or something like that. Anyway, that's just a diss for Dhruv. I don't know why. But yeah, it's. Do you guys have? Let's actually start with War 2, because that's the most recent assault on our senses.
Why? एक second.
Um,
Why?
Why not?
and I think it's the culmination of
Yeah.
everything
Of
in
the
a
ineptitude?
bad
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
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 in the worst way possible, right? Where it's trying to do this light-hearted dialogue that it doesn't actually have the ability to carry off very well. It takes two stars and pits them against one another, and then shoves in a backstory which is straight out of the 60s or the 70s, almost a Manmohan Desai potboiler, but lacking the charm, the flair, the sincerity
And the
of
fun.
Manmohan.
Yeah. What the
I
fuck?
mean, yes, the fun, obviously. I mean, I don't think Ayan Mukherjee's made a fun film in about 13 years now.
And also, it does the truly blasphemous thing of not even bothering to be as homoerotic as War 1.
अरे
I think start there,
homoeroticism.
start there then,
अरे
Chris. Why don't you?
homoeroticism छोड़ो.
On the failed homoeroticism
One
of War.
second. 1 second. Chris, explain to me, like, मेरे पास एक मतलब आइडिया है of what homoeroticism का
Means.
मतलब क्या है, which is
Yeah.
basically the reading or a sort of attraction of, basically the sexuality which is being depicted, but not overtly per se. You
Yes,
can
the shot
read
is,
through
if
it.
you think of War, there is
Yeah.
a shot of Hrithik Roshan walking out of
Undercurrent.
a helicopter
Yeah.
and walking towards Tiger Shroff, and Tiger Shroff looks like he is sexually aroused. That is the kind of depiction of sexuality which I mean when I'm talking about homoeroticism, which is very much so there in the first film. Along with like even some lines which can be interpreted if you have that kind of a reading of the film. Like there's a scene later on where Aditi, who's like a side character, tells Hrithik Roshan that, if I wasn't getting married right now, I'd marry you. And Tiger Shroff says, get in line. Which,
Yeah.
would, it has that, if you
I
read
think
it as a
that's fairly
homoerotic film.
obvious. I don't think you need to read it as anything. It's
Absolutely,
right
and
there, it's in your face.
I feel like that's there a little bit in how Siddharth Anand particularly treats Hrithik
Yeah.
Roshan, because it's also there in Fighter. I feel like there's a whole
Mhm.
that, Hrithik Roshan's smile is so good it could seduce anyone. And this is regardless of gender
Right.
or sexuality, kind of a thing. The second one is either ineffective as a friendship story or a straight up gay romance. Those are the
Okay.
only two ends of the spectrum that it can exist on, which is
Right.
that the character dynamics are extremely half baked. So you don't feel a bond between them, but you've got these scenes of at the end of the film in the big action set piece in an ice cave, which looks like a Mountain Dew ad for some reason. Hrithik Roshan holds the back of NTR's
Hey,
head.
Pathaan looked like a thumbs up ad, so why not Mountain Dew
Same
also?
difference. So, no, he's holding the back of like NTR's head and talking about how I wanted you and I wanted to be
You
you
did
and I
talk,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
spend our lives together. It's
Yeah,
just
and
a
we are
gay
like,
romance.
yeah,
after a point.
and I'm like, then why are you pretending it is homoeroticism? Just tell, the cute.
No, the film is not, the second film is not homoerotic because it's not sexual at all. Like it is
At all.
that sort of polished off into the kind of high action drama and also very bad at it. So there's no sexuality at all. The character
No, the
dynamics are
sexuality, I think you will agree, the homoeroticism, quote unquote, not quote, I'm saying quote unquote because none of it works. The
yeah.
homoeroticism is forcefully planted, like the entire movie itself. The entire movie itself is forcefully brought into existence. इसीलिए
Yeah.
the homoeroticism is also forcefully planted.
No,
क्योंकि War 1 में it was as much as you can bring naturalism into a Sid Anand movie, War One में it was actually कि कुछ chemistry था जिसको we can read as homoeroticism.
No, the thing
और
is,
बहुत-
homoeroticism is often a byproduct
yeah,
of a
byproduct.
certain perspective of, like, I think Siddharth Anand is a little bit at least self-aware of what he's doing. But oftentimes,
sure.
I think so, but it is
I
a
agree with you,
byproduct
yeah.
of a
No,
certain
I think
kind of framing and approach to character work and things like that. In War 2, everything is so constructed that you can't buy them as friends. So the only other conclusion left is these are just romantic partners. That's the only
Yeah.
reading that makes the comical excesses of their confessions to each other about how they can't live without each other make sense, because they're not
Al-
friends. I'm sorry.
also just putting things into perspective here from a purely aesthetic standpoint, purely aesthetic standpoint, Hrithik Roshan and NTR Jr. do not go well together. I am sorry, they do not. To all NTR fans, he doesn't look good in this movie at all.
Hrithik Roshan is red in the movie for
Hrithik
some
Roshan is
godforsaken
sunburned.
reason.
Hrithik Roshan is sunburned.
He's fairly close to our monkey brother in more ways than one.
Yeah,
He's
fully.
in the opening Japanese
Japan.
action set piece.
Japan, yeah.
I thought it was lighting. I thought it was just like they cranked up the red lighting a bit too much. But then you see him in daylight next to Kiara Advani or next to NTR, he looks red. His skin is just bright red for some reason.
It's the artificial light cranked up to max. Which
No, I'm saying so. It's not that. You see real life photos of him and Ayan Mukherjee during the promotions. Hrithik Roshan is just red for some reason.
He was already embarrassed. He came pre-embarrassed for the film.
Yeah. He's like, I know what I'm
already
doing.
शर्मिंदा हूँ.
Yeah, he's like, I know what I'm doing. क्या कर सकते
But
हैं?
what you hit on with the lighting is actually great, because what is that, right? It is the culmination. I know I already said this, but it's the culmination of like the worst impulses of filmmaking that anybody can think of, because there's no thought to a scene, there's no idea of how it's going to be framed or what it's going to look like, so all of it looks terribly fake, and all of it feels contrived, and the action is bad, the acting is quite awful. Kiara Advani is just wide-eyed for most of the movie, and the scene of hers that was supposed to make the country go wide-eyed, I don't think lands at all either. She's not sexy in the way that like they try to position a Deepika or
we are going to sound out very rude here, but it's like she is quote unquote a nothing burger. She is
No, and it's
nothing.
also, again,
She's
it is
nothing in
a
this movie. That's the
question of
problem.
filmmaking, right?
Yeah.
In
Yeah, it is.
Besharam Ram,
Fully.
there is there's a purposeful way in which Deepika is portrayed. On the other hand, in
She
Avan,
is seducing him,
yeah, I'm saying
right?
even if you remove that context, you take it purely as a music video, there is a certain
Right,
focus on Deepika's sexuality. In Avan
right.
Javan, Hrithik Roshan and Kiara Advani are just lazing around the pool, and she, for no reason, she just like stands there, takes her cover up off, and just poses for the camera, which is not
Yeah.
technically supposed to be there, and
Also,
then gets into the
is
water.
it just me? Also, is it just me, or the chemistry between Hrithik Roshan and Kiara Advani is more brother sister than?
Not
It is
Brother.
very sibling. It
Yeah,
is
it is
very
very
sibling energy. Like sibling energy to the point that he's a 21 years older brother type situation where he's literally a second parent, not like
Yeah.
he's Ashutosh Rana's surrogate as opposed to
No,
anything
he
else.
looks more like, we always used to joke that when in R. Rajkumar, at the time, for some reason, Sonakshi Sinha looked like Shahid Kapoor's bhabhi in that film. In like Sadi Ke Falsa specifically. So I'm like, he looks like her brother-in-law, not like her.
A brother-in-law. That's a very specific relationship.
Yeah.
But no, I think, and it just cascades. Kiara Advani is bad, but NTR is not much better.
I
Hrithik
think
is
NTR is. I think
unforgivably
NTR is
bad.
quite. I think NTR is quite bad. NTR is
His
bad
Hindi
because
is good, which
his
I will
Hindi is
give
very good.
I mean, his
big credits for.
he actually
His-
speaks. He
his-
speaks the language like casually also very well. The problem is the filmmaker does not appear to be so professional.
His diction is like as someone who's cribbed
Is
about like Mallu actors
Yeah,
butchering the Hindi language.
which is
His
still
diction
fine. I
is
think an inflection is totally all right. Like, for much of his career, Puneet Issar, for instance, has been the Punjabi inflected
yeah.
Hindi actor kind of situation, but or Diljit for that matter
The
nowadays.
best example, I
Um,
think, oh my god, and of course, because QID,
Yeah.
customary RGV film RGV film shout out. Mohanlal in
Like
Company.
in no, I'm saying, but
Company,
there's
yeah.
a difference. I'm saying
Yeah.
there's a difference between Mohanlal and Company and Prithviraj in Sarzameen, for example, which is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mohanlal and Company, I can still buy because it's part of the character. In Sarzameen, even though they give him a Mallu name, you're supposed to sell him off as a regular Hindi speaking character, and his inability to speak properly is actively hindering his performance. If your like flawed diction is part of your character, it's fine. If that is getting in the way of me able to comprehend the film, I think that's a problem. NTR, I
Yeah.
give credit that his diction is genuinely like
I think that's also
flawless.
because in Telangana and former Andhra Pradesh,
Yeah.
Hindi is spoken fairly consistently in parts of the state. But I
But the
think
filmmaking, I think everything boils
no,
down to the
yeah,
fact that filmmaking is awful. It is awful.
yeah, like the idea is that if you're making these big ticket films, and here is a good point actually to bring in something like Dhurandhar, where uh, the film is not shot in Pakistan. You also, unless you've sat down and nitpicked really, you're willing to buy that. Yes, it's shot in an actual place. It's not shot on a set. It is shot on a set, made in Thailand. So as far away from Pakistan as you can get while still being in South Asia, but it feels believable.
There
I
is a
can accept.
basically there is a dirt, you know.
There's a production design
Production.
element,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
very basically, right? As
Hmm.
opposed to War 2, where everything
What to remember that
very obviously feels
speedboat
like a
chase
set.
scene.
So
Remember
speedboat
speedboat.
chase scene.
I mean,
There
yeah,
is
Christ.
the
the B2 bomber,
aeroplane
I
में
think.
खंजर a B2
Yeah,
bomber and
very,
then aeroplane में खंजर phokna, and there is NTR photoshopped onto a drone.
which is, I mean, like,
NTR photoshopped
what do
onto a
we,
drone was something else. Huh?
was
Half
Forget
something
about
quite
it.
naked.
new.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's the funniest line in the film when he takes off his shirt and the guy there says, "This won't reduce the payload, dude. I don't know why you're doing that." A t-shirt barely weighs like 20 grams.
and it's also
So
like
it's,
in the chase sequence, the speedboat chase sequence. पहली बात तो taken from world is not enough. To the point, की वो speedboat का design भी वही है. But there's also the fact that the water is not real. Water, the speedboat is not real. Nothing is real. Even the F1 racetrack is not real. I'm like, मैं क्या देख रहा हूँ भाई?
I was
right.
watching Dhoom yesterday and I was like, at least इस shot में एक actual speedboat है.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
And
I mean, the
it,
action feels physical, right? Like, again, the artifice is the problem with all these films. Even if you go all the way back to Tiger, Ek Tha Tiger, Salman is not doing any of the action, but Kabir Khan is competent enough as a filmmaker and Asim Mishra as a cinematographer that they figured out that, okay, if we can't show Salman's face, or if we're going to have to do CG face for the sun,
I think in Ekta
we are
Tiger
going to have
that
to find
CG
inventive ways to
placement is
show.
off. I think that CG placement is quite awful. Like
It is awful,
it is
but it
awful.
finds ways to get around his unwillingness to perform the stunts or his inability to perform the stunts,
The
as
latter.
opposed to it's still shooting them on location. So
Yeah.
remember, stuntmen are the norm, actors doing the stunts are the exception.
Exception.
So
Yeah.
I have no problems with Salman being unwilling to do the stunts. That's what stuntmen are for. It depends. Are you going to shoot it on location? Are you going to shoot it on a set? Because everything is shot on a set, so controlled environment. So Shahrukh doing the action himself also does not look real because the set around him and the way you're shooting it looks so fake in Pathaan.
You're
or
on top of a
in
truck and you
action.
see like GTA level, like GTA
GTA level,
Yeah,
Vice
yeah,
like
yeah.
he's
City level
It's a GTA
buildings in
Vice,
the
it's GTA
background.
Vice City San Andreas type graphics है वहाँ पे. And I'm like
yeah.
ये क्या हो रहा है?
And
But
I
I
think
think
there
I think
you see a depreciation in the filmmaking quality across these films. Like I think up until Tiger Zinda Hai, they are still trying to put in effort. Like the explosion in Tiger Zinda Hai is real. It's
Hmm.
being like Salman Alia Bhatt Zafar shoots that frame with sort of this very raw masala fire power when Salman just pushes the door open and he's got a machine gun in his hand. I hate Salman Khan from the very core of my existence. I detest him as a human being, but I'd be lying if I said that that shot is not effective. Cut to whatever he is doing in Tiger 3, which even he does not appear to understand because it's all sets. It's all very, very
I,
fake
I
looking
also have
sets.
I also have another idea about Tiger 3 ki I think Manish Sharma as a filmmaker, I think he fundamentally I think misunderstood how to put Salman ka physique into perspective. Because I can explain this. Uh,
I mean, you're
as
going to
one
have
of the
to.
as one of the few, yeah, as one of the few who actually like Pathan's hand-to-hand combat sequences, one of the few people who do. Okay, I think that hand-to-hand combat, not the entire wide screen angle shots of Zodiac.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know that Shahrukh is not doing the stunts and everything, all that
Hmm.
fight sequence and all that, but the stuntman who is doing the hand-to-hand combat sequences, he brings a level of character, a sort of agility which is being brought down by age, which the
Hmm.
stuntman is very effective at portraying what Pathan's deal is. Ki Pathan is
Right.
an aging agent, but he's still agile.
Okay.
Tiger, on the other hand, not in Ekta Tiger, from Tiger Zinda Hai, Tiger is very much a brawler.
Hmm.
He's like huge. He's jacked, he's huge. Okay, and
Yeah.
he's like almost hulking in a way. He wasn't as hulking in Tiger Zinda, but in Tiger 3, he's effectively that. My point is, Ali Abbas Zafar knows how to frame that hulking persona of Salman Khan, which is very much in Tiger, into
Hmm.
perspective, into showing that how he can use that hulking persona to be a force of nature. In Tiger 3, Manish Sharma doesn't know how to do it.
Right.
So it always feels very much like, I don't know, forced. You're using smoke
Hmm.
and everything. You're showing Tiger entering through the smoke like some sort of a demon from hell, but nothing is
I mean,
working.
apt.
Yeah, but nothing is working. Because even if he's a
Yeah.
demon from hell, even if he's a demon from hell, there is no effectiveness to that entire point. Even when he's trying to break out of the jail and fight through the spectators, it's not shot enough in a effective way ki, oh my god, look, this hulking guy can literally throw these people away, or you can
Right.
push these people away and you can feel some sort of visceral excitement. You can't in Tiger 3.
Hmm.
I think that's very much a directorial issue.
No, I
Siddharth
think
Anand, when
instead
he,
of like working with his
yeah,
inability or his unwillingness or whatever, or
hmm,
his stature, I think it's all the filmmaking almost is working against it, where it makes the kind of lack of
I also think,
mobility more obvious
I
of
also
Yeah,
all
think,
because
the.
it needs to make it more grandiose, more sort of
hmm,
spectacular
yeah,
in a
I also
way.
think, I also think that जितना डिस्टिंक्शन हम डाल रहे हैं इन
Hmm.
पठान टाइगर एंड कबीर कि
Yeah.
physical attributes can define him other than the fact that they are played by completely three different stars, because we are trying to look at these movies through a much more analytical lens. I
Hmm.
want to put a distinction through their physical attributes ki how can I define these agents.
Yeah, they should have something
Some
that's distinct
Yeah.
to them.
distinct to them. I think YRF themselves haven't thought that through.
But that's something we will address later
Hmm.
on in this episode, which is about the post facto building of a universe, as opposed to something like Dhoom, which is a good place to bring that in. Dhoom very much, even though third film is absolutely awful, like it's crap,
Abysmal
and
garbage.
nobody can deny that it's crap,
Hmm.
but it still feels like those three films still feel like they're part of like one property, and the first two especially do that really, really well. in terms of they're not intellectually highbrow movies. They're not made on the scale of a Hollywood film like Speed or
They
The
do
Fugitive.
they do
But
feel like that though. That's also
but they
another
are,
thing.
I mean, they're admirably mounted for the fact that they're able to work within their ambitions,
Yes.
and they're able to have an ambition which is, hey, I want to make this kind of film. Like the premise of Dhoom is so simple, right? How do these bikers make a quick getaway? It is so Bombay. They use the Western Expressway. It is rooted to that very unique characteristic of Bombay at the time. Similarly, Dhoom 2. This man is not interested in money. He is interested in robbing shit you can't have in normal life.
Both Doom
So
1
you're
and Doom
able
2 ka
to,
villain, both Doom 1 and Doom 2 ka villain do all this stuff just for the kicks. Both
I
of them.
mean, John Abraham is getting like lots of cash out of it. You have to remember that I feel like Aryan, which is the Hrithik Roshan character in Dhoom 2, not Dr. Vyas, occasional member,
Occasional.
somewhat ghostly figure
Occasionally
on
is
Queen is Dead.
seldom. Occasion bhi nahi hai, seldom only at this point, yeah.
Aryan is, Dhruv's gonna hate me for this. Aryan is what Dhruv would be like if he had the time, willingness, interest in doing this kind of stuff. He feels like a person who's comfortable in life. Like he doesn't need to worry about rosy roti. So he goes and does this stuff for kicks. Like it's like an intellectual,
He
physical
is
exercise.
he is what I will call, he is basically Bruce Wayne if he broke bad. He is Batman if he broke bad.
Broke bad meaning.
Broke bad meaning he is Batman if Batman is more interested in being a criminal.
Yeah, but not a criminal. Like he's
No,
not a
thief.
murdering
Okay,
thug.
thief, thief.
He's
He
yeah,
is
he's
He's
a
Batman.
basically
slick
like a
guy.
chaotic neutral, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's no like actual kind
Harm
of
to
deep
others.
philosophical reason behind
Yeah.
it. There is no harm to others. There's no monetary
Which is
gain.
why
There's
he's
no
also
personal
able to
interest.
give it up. I think that film has a great. I used to think, oh my god, what a awful finale that is. Until Abhishek Bachchan walks into that bar at the end, and you can tell this guy was only ever in it because it was fun. You know, मुझे मजा आ रहा था is his whole shtick. And I think more to the point is that these movies are well made. Like, people
Yeah,
can
they
shit
are
on
well
them
made.
for all they like. Dhoom and Dhoom 2 are, when they're riding the bike, like there's this, they use that bullet time sort of
Hmm.
effect,
Yeah.
which is it's a
I think
sort of
Doom
shot
1
of
is more
John.
egregious of that. Doom 1 is more egregious of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, of course, but
Yeah.
it's also trying stuff out. Like, people, I think sometimes we don't appreciate this about cinema, especially when it's done in a country like India, where the tools that you're using are still as expensive as they would be to a Hollywood crew, but your
Hmm.
financial constraints are considerably more. Like, Neerav Shah is shooting all these bikes, if not at the speed at which they can move, then a few clicks lower. But
Yeah.
that's you've still got to capture fast moving action clearly, competently, and interestingly. Like, there's that scene where John takes the uh, bike off a ramp and through
Yeah,
the
yeah,
gap between two bogies of a train. That is such a rooted detail to how trains are in India.
yeah,
You
Yeah.
can't pull that stunt off in Europe, where trains are more closely stuck together. Like the wagons are hitched together much more closely. And again, they also have to do that whole thing. They're Jay and Ali are not like two guys who are doing the whole thing. There's the Manoj Joshi character, Shekhar, who
hmm.
comes in, who has to talk to him and dress up with like flowers or whatever, and Ali is dressed as a clown. There is
I also
all
like that
that.
action sequence in the like bazaar section in Doom. You
Oh
know, the
yeah, yeah, that's
great,
really well shot,
really well shot. Yeah,
and
especially with
it's got like,
how the people are pushing all this stuff to create
yeah,
obstacles.
onto them.
Yeah,
Yep,
onto them.
like
Really
the
good stuff.
community is trying to
Yeah,
save the
yeah, yeah,
goon
Yeah.
as
yeah,
opposed to help the police.
yeah.
And that's where I think the casting of Abhishek Bachchan makes so much sense.
Hmm.
Like, you're using his father's image against him. Like, the
Yeah.
righteous cop of Zanjeer gets turned into the righteous cop of Dhoom.
Hmm.
Except
Hmm.
in Zanjeer, he would have a Sher Khan standing with him.
Hmm.
In Dhoom, nobody wants to stand with him because the
Yeah.
thieves are cool.
Yeah.
It's the villain is not some big bad guy. He just works at a pizza place
Hmm.
and like robs places for, like, he robs the chief minister's relief fund or whatever,
Hmm.
right? And it just leaves. And again, it has consequences. People die. Those deaths are not super dramatic. Vijay Krishna Acharya, you knew what you were doing in the first two films. What the fuck happened in the third? Like, where
Again,
did it all go wrong?
again, I will tell you what. I will tell you what it is.
That he
Amir Khan
directed.
hijacked. Amir Khan hijacked it. I'm telling you, he hijacked it.
I think fundamentally it's an intentions problem, right? I feel like
Hmm.
with Dhoom 1 and like Dhoom 1, there's an intention to make like a kind of Fast and Furious-esque Indian
Yeah, like,
thing.
फास्ट एंड फ्यूरियस एस्क कुछ नहीं है ये
Fast and
फास्ट एंड
Furious
फ्यूरियस ही
India
है
edition.
या
But there is an understanding of characters, and like you said, it's a great Bombay film. Like if you
mhm.
think of like,
या
and also it uses Goa pretty effectively, which I've had a lot of issues with how
Yeah,
a lot of
like
filmmakers use
casino,
Goa.
and yeah, it
And
uses because otherwise you'd
also
have to take
is
it
it
to
also
Sikkim, the
isn't the
only other
hotel
state where
also
gambling is
isn't the
legal.
hotel a tad bit empty? The hotel should be more full, right?
No, but you have to think of it as the Taj would be an exclusive place to party, right? Everybody is not going there.
Yeah, but still, मतलब कैसीनो है
No,
थोड़ा
sir.
थोड़ा फील
No.
करो थोड़ा तो फील करो अरे
but the point is that you're able to balance.
Yeah.
There's not much expectations outside of making this one film, right?
yeah
By
yeah
Dhoom
Yeah.
2, Dhoom 2 is a proper your like spiritual
Yeah,
sequel
you're
type.
building it up. Yeah.
Building
yeah but
so you
Dhoom 2 का building up what I really liked in Dhoom 1 and especially Dhoom 2 is and more than Dhoom 1 that is Dhoom 1 में the consequences of the heist are given more preference not the planning ठीक है
Right.
that's also by design क्योंकि
Yeah, it's the more cop end of the cops and robbers, because
cops
if
and
you get
robbers
into the robbers end of it, you have to get in with the gang members.
gang members
yeah.
They are all pretty dull. Like,
I-
nobody gives a
I-
damn
yeah
about
nobody
them.
gives a damn
Except
except John
the one
except
played by, no, the guy played by Sanjay Singh,
ha understood
Rohit, who buys the swanky red car.
Hmm.
That was like John's money shot, right? Of course, he'd done Jism before this, but
Yeah.
that shot of John with the jacket half done, denims, walking towards the camera and turning profile and lighting a cigarette.
Yeah
That
With
was
the
the
with the
big,
Tere Naam Hai.
तेरे
with
नाम
the
है
Tere
yeah
Naam hair, but like less Radhe Bhaiya and more
Les Radhe Bhaiya
MS
and more
Dhoni.
yeah it's also the fact that in Dhoom 2 though because you're looking at it from the robber's perspective I really
Yeah,
appreciated that even if it's just a couple of scenes you're showing the details you're showing that what he's
yeah,
building and whatever he's building there is a consequence to what is being shown he's shown building the magnetic gloves the
magnet, yeah,
the
Yeah.
magnetic gloves will
Coke
come into
commercial,
play yeah coke
yeah.
commercial magnetic gloves will come into play
But you know what? For me, the best part of that heist sequence that happens actually in Jodhpur or wherever
yeah
in Dhoom 2
hmm.
is Aishwarya Rai playing Sunehri.
Hmm.
I find her incredibly fun in the film. By the way, I know people like, what a fucking annoying woman. I
No,
think
she's very
no
fun.
she's funny
she plays the kooky, klutzy girl almost, and you don't imagine Aishwarya Rai is going to get that role. She's supposed to be either the majestically beautiful or nothing else. But the movie takes the beauty, spins it into sexiness. It takes the sort of reserve of her earlier work and turns it into a bit of a comedic thing. She has this great line. She says,
आज सुनहरी ने तुम्हारे नाम से हीरा चुराया है कल को खीरा भी चुरा सकती है
it is incredible. I cracked up so hard when I heard that line because I was like, she's literally got him by the balls at that moment,
yeah
in a way. And there is that whole chemistry. I think the kiss is actually what ruins it
yeah
Yeah.
because they have the smoldering chemistry works. Okay, I should tell the story because my parents will probably listen to this. I was 7 years old when Dhoom 2 came out.
oh
Um,
god I'm so old
and
anyway
and we'd gone to the cinema for the film, and everybody, of course, we were on vacation, we'd read the papers, Pune Times or whatever it used to be, the Times of India supplement, and it said Hrithik Roshan, Aishwarya Rai kiss, whatever. Now I am 7, my sister's 10. We really don't have much conception of the world, at least not about these things yet.
Hmm.
Remember, we are not Gen Zs, and we've grown up in smaller towns. So the scene comes about in the film, my sister and I shut our eyes, but we also shut our parents' eyes.
Uh,
Oh wow.
So, but the kiss was such an important part of the zeitgeist. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
Yeah,
say,
I
Amartya?
remember.
Like,
I
No,
remember
but
that.
like for me, the scene I remember the most, and again, that's what it's interesting about Dhoom 2 to me, is the Russian roulette scene, which is to
mhm.
me gut wrenching. Like I think what the film does into and what I was saying about expectations is Dhoom 2 gets to be just let's build on this concept that we had. And since we have
Yeah, let's
set up
still have fun.
let's have since you have set Jay and Ali up, we can put them to the side.
I
The
think
Yeah,
the
no,
world
no. I
knows
think
them.
yeah, but the problem here there is कि you can put them to the side, but in case of Ali, this was the beginning of the Ali character being shafted
I
simply
mean
for
there are
comic
only there
relief.
are only three films, so I don't know if there's really an arc there to
No,
what
no,
you're
I'm not
saying.
talking about arc. I'm talking
Because
about being shafted
I
for
think
just
he's
comic
got.
relief.
You should see some of the deleted scenes actually, because there's one point where Ali is leaving Brazil,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and like Jay has to convince him that
Yeah, in the
stay.
car. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's not there, right? In the film, it's a
Yeah, it
deleted
is
scene.
there. Yeah, it
Is
is
there?
there.
No, it's
It's
there,
there in the
yeah.
film. Yeah,
When
it's
he's
there in the
oh,
film.
okay, then
No, they're
no,
driving
there's a
to the airport and
yeah,
he's
yeah,
Driving.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
there
there
in
in
the
the
film.
film.
No,
Yeah,
the
it's there.
deleted scene is pre Dil Lagana, which is a
Hmm.
song. Ali is like, I want to just eat and get up early, and Monali comes and says, let's go to a party.
Hmm.
And he's like, no, Jay has said we have to sleep early. Tomorrow is the robbery. We got to catch them. So she's like, oh, okay, then I guess I'll go. And then she just turns to Abhishek Bachchan and says, would you like to come? He's like, is there going to be food there? Because he hates the food she cooks.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. He's like, okay. And Ali is like, what the fuck, dude? I said no because you said no. Now you're going to the party. So it's got those things, I think, which is fine. Like again, like Chris said, sorry, Chris, we cut you off.
No,
The
no, no.
Ritik Aishwarya bit is more important.
Yeah,
Take
Yeah.
so
that from that.
it once because you've established Dhoom and there was the popularity of
Yeah,
the film, you've got Jay and Ali. Now you can set them aside. And then you get to build something new because since the first film wasn't focused on the robbers, you get to build a film that focuses on the robbery and on
yeah,
building a dynamic there, and then with obviously the Sunehri character bringing Abhishek Bachchan and Uday Chopra back into the fold when you
back into
find
it.
out
Yeah,
that she's a double agent. But then again, when you get to that Russian roulette scene, because you have come to become fond of both of these characters, you
yeah,
get that really like that tension is amazing in that scene. And then how that ends up, the ending then becomes really sweet. You get the waterfall sequence and then the sort of
yeah,
ending at the bar thing. All of
yep.
that adds up really well, and so it gets to exist. Both Dhoom and Dhoom 2 get to exist for themselves.
I might.
By the time
I think I have a slight disagreement. I think the disagreement stems mostly from the fact that listen, out of Abhishek Bachchan and Uday Chopra, I think Abhishek Bachchan's role, even though he's also slowly getting quote unquote shafted only because he exists as the protagonist, he is there. Like he is the
He's
good cop.
also the cop, sir. He's a straight player. There's
No,
very
no,
little
that's fine. That's
to
fine that
it,
he's
right?
that's fine that he's a straight player. But the writing and the direction at least gives him scenes with Roshan. Like there are
Oh,
two
there's one.
variations
Yeah,
of the
okay.
heat
yeah
scene. There are two variations of the heat scene in the movie. One
यार
is
आप लोग ना बार बार जैसे कि इससे पहले कभी हुआ ही नहीं है
नहीं
कॉप एंड
नहीं
रॉबर
आई एम किडिंग
कॉन्फ्रंटेशन
आई एम
हीट का
किडिंग
इतना
आई एम किडिंग आई एम
आई
किडिंग
एम
चिल
गोना वॉक आउट
कर Gonna walk out. I will host. Anyway, the point being,
चल
yeah. But my point being, there are two convo scenes, right, in the middle of it,
yeah
and then there's the one convo scene before Dil Lagana, the song. So Bachchan at least has those scenes interacting with the robber or interacting with any of them.
या
Uday Chopra's Ali, right? He
yep
is simply the comic relief. My point is,
yeah
yeah, that's something that I feel that because he's such an integral part of Dhoom 1 and I genuinely liked him in Dhoom 1, I
yeah
think that just reducing him to comic relief was somewhat of a disservice. To
But I
what?
think it's kind of like inevitable because the first film is setting him up, right? It's
Hmm.
setting up the dynamic. It's setting. If your focus shifts, then some character or the other, I think, is a
also
fair bargain.
But
in the
आप
first
तो
film
एक
he
scene
is
डाल
that
सकते
important to it
Yeah.
आप तो एक
in
scene तो
this
डाल
he
सकते
is
ही हो
much more
right?
incidental
Yeah.
No, like in this, he's there because he's Jay's partner. Otherwise, Jay can technically do this by himself. He's the actual cop.
Yeah,
He has the
I mean,
qualifications. He
if
has
he's
all of that,
no,
right?
my point being, if he's that incidental, you can just
Hmm.
excise him from the Brazil section completely. Kyuki,
No, but it's still fun that
no,
he's
no,
there,
it is
right?
fun. It is fun, but to include him means to also include a quote unquote love interest, which is why the Bipasha Basu twin angle is just
I think that's
nonsense.
still hilarious. I
It's
think that's
still
still
It's very
nonsense.
hilarious.
It's
funny.
nonsense. It's
Sir,
nonsense.
but that's the thing. The film doesn't take itself seriously enough for this to be bad. Like,
It's
it's
not even the bad or
It's
whatever.
a you can
It's
I can
no, I'll
nonsense.
accept
tell
it as a
you.
nitpick. I don't think it's a
Yeah, I
flaw
don't
in
think
the
it's a
film.
flaw in the film in the sense of, like what Chris was saying, you're fond of Sunehri and Aryan. You're not emotionally invested in their being, right? What happens with a lot of these films in the spy universe, especially, is they try to
They try
evoke
to make you
some
emotionally invested. Yeah.
emotional. I'm like, who the fuck cares? This is supposed to be entertaining, right? Like, entertain me first. Emotions will come later. Like, I don't want this ridiculous sort of pain. India first, that was so bad in war 2. They just kept saying it like, they were part of some cult, and I was like, but you're not doing anything well enough to protect India's interests.
No, but the point becomes that is why Dhoom 3 becomes such an omen for what would happen to the spy
Yeah, the
universe,
self
right?
seriousness of it.
The self
Because
seriousness
yeah,
of it.
because Ekta Tiger to me is still one of the most, like, the one film that I'm
I-
probably the most fond of in the spy
It's got a
universe.
banger
Only
first half, yeah.
and I would say the only other one that I think is competent relatively is War. Those are the two I would say
Doom
are
3, I think Doom three's biggest issue is the fact that because it becomes the quote unquote vanity project, it also becomes what is essentially it does the cardinal mistake of giving the villain a backstory. I
Hmm.
think the
Yeah, we
villain
don't need to.
we
Also,
don't
like
need
the
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 backstory.
backstory needs to be good. It cannot be the bank to whom my father owed money decided to repossess the property he had
yeah, you're
put up
like,
as
can you
collateral.
I mean
sit
that's
down
the
and take one course in like
yeah,
like 10th
yeah,
standard? Like,
Not
I
even
mean,
economics. Sit down for 5 minutes and think. Also,
I mean
like at one point, he poses as his dad
yeah,
yeah.
and the
and goes
bank is
to
also
another
good.
branch of the same bank.
And the bank also doesn't give anything, doesn't stop him
No,
also.
but the absolutely stupid part is the father shot himself in front of the bank
In
chairman.
the bank
So
chairman.
it's not even like it's not even like
Like
he
no
shot
no
himself in front
no
of
no
like a clerk or
like
something.
Vijay Krishna Acharya while writing the script he's like, wait, the bank manager knows, but I'm sure he did not tell to his subordinates. I'm like, they have computers.
No, it's like, no,
What are
no.
you doing?
He said in that branch, but this branch tak news
This
nahi
branch,
pahunchi.
he thinks
In
Bank of
Germany.
Chicago,
In Germany.
not Germany, America.
In
Whatever. In
Chicago, no.
America, Chicago. Whatever. My point.
He thinks this Great Bank of America or Central Bank of America or whatever is SBI.
SBI. क्या हो रहा है
एक
भाई?
ब्रांच और दूसरे ब्रांच के बीच में कोई ताल्लुक नहीं.
Head doesn't know what the hands are doing.
Yeah, ये
Ever.
इंडिया नहीं है ना. That's a problem. ये क्या लिख रहा है?
Yeah, it needed to be set. It needed to be a spoof on SBI for that to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, make that
Literally.
another Bombay film and then do it
Yeah.
to like Thane branch
Are-
versus Dadar branch.
Because the Bombay sequence of that film is the most convincing one. The one set in Matunga, where Ali is being suspended upside down, that is the most believable bit of that movie. Everything else is theek. I can still say I think the bike is cool.
The
I don't
Bombay
give a
bit.
damn about whether it's Amir riding it or not. I
Hmm.
think it captures the streets of Chicago super well.
Hmm.
Beyond that,
Yeah,
what?
it is shot
Liquid
well.
electricity.
And
And what a
And
come down from
what
like, I'm
Amir
sorry,
Khan
it's
like doing like neck and shoulder exercise.
oh yeah, like it's
Comely.
like the flat
In
line
Comely.
from Isha Deol and Rimi,
Oh, yeah.
the high peak of Aishwarya,
Aishwarya.
and then again come significantly down, more than halfway down to Katrina because she has like 2 scenes in the film.
And Katrina
Yeah,
and
and she does
Katrina in
comedy.
Comely and in Comely
3
in the
songs.
song, the entire song is basically her dancing and simultaneously
Striptease
undressing.
gymnastics, sir.
क्या हो रहा है?
No, but the funny
It's
thing
like
is,
an,
again,
it
you
calls
know
for a
it's
nature
not her.
intervention.
It's not her for the half the scene. So, like, when she's on the ground and she's doing lap dance around Amir Khan, it's fine, it's her. Then it's some
And
lady
she's
with the hair on doing
and
the stunts.
Amir is just watching her with this half smoke on his face.
I'm like, this
I'm
man is either a psychopath or gay. That's the only thing that.
I mean, no. To be fair, I'm as straight as you can get, and that was not arousing at all.
That is
Like
very. That is
whatever,
very like.
whatever.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, she's flexible. I'm curious, but that's it.
She, she's flexible. She should join Baba Ramdev.
Yes.
What on earth is she doing joining a circus? Which is not even real circus. That's the thing, right?
That
Everything
is
about
the
the film
thing. Yeah.
rings so false. And then the thing is, Ek Tha Tiger again feels like a reset. Like we're going to do the half almost. Like I think I said this before the recording, so I'm going to say it now. Ranveer Shori at one point is warning Salman's character, and he's like, "What are you doing, romancing this professor's housekeeper?" He's like,
मिशन के लिए जोया को पटाना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्या कहीं पटाते पटाते खुद मत पट जाना
which is exactly what happens,
Yeah.
right? So it's got that very romantic comedy. I think also great lyrics. I think the lyrics are must be Irshad Kamil. Usually he only writes this stuff. Let me just check. I have like notes on this.
Oh my God, you have turned
Insane.
into Dhruv.
No, I think Anvita Dutt, Kausar Munir, and Nilesh Mishra have written the lyrics, each of them. So there's like, if you just listen to the songs and you note the words, it is incredible how much work appears to have gone into them. Like, and I'm not saying they sat down and they labored hours. It could have come to them in 5
नहीं
minutes.
मतलब ये
For
जनाबे
all I
अली
know.
नहीं है.
Huh, like or
Okay,
like
Janabe.
whatever else, like Amitabh Bhattacharya is writing, like yeah, what हरजाई अखियां something something पंखियां कहाँ से कुछ बच गया रुआ रुआ. I'm like क्या गा
I
रहा है
remember
ये आदमी?
you were super annoyed over Avan Javan also.
That also, what the hell is Avan Javan? Or rather, actually, why am I calling it what a Malayali is calling it? It's Avan Javan. Literally, it's Punjabi. And it's the most brother sister
It's a
Game
sibling
of Thrones
dynamic.
type
Yeah.
song. And you compare that to Sanyara, not any of the stuff from the Mohsuri films.
Not the
I'm
movie.
talking about
Also
Not the
Sanyara,
movie,
YRF
the
the
song.
song.
Crimes.
Yeah, not the movie, the
Also
song.
one of the.
Yeah.
Banjara is so beautifully written. Like everything about that song is about falling in love, right?
Yeah.
सैकड़ों ख्वाब उस पे है खर्चा किए फिर भी मिलने को हर रोज तरसा किए.
You're like, dude, then what happens to you people later? Like, why are you writing swag se swagat? Like, I get it, Vishal Shekhar are lazy.
Yeah.
They can't be this
No, but like
lazy.
the music producers का भी बहुत फर्क पड़ता है. I think Sajid Wajid have a certain style to them.
I think
You
no.
listen to
So
Mashallah.
Banjara and all are all Sohail Sen.
No, you get
Mashallah is the only one
Mashallah
that
is-
is Sajid.
I'm saying you take a Mashallah. Say the ending song is a bit. You got Jume
Yeah.
Jo Pathaan.
Swag
Swag
Se
Se
Swagat.
If you go
Leke
back
Prabhu Ka
also,
Naam, which is Preetam, which is egregious.
Yeah.
But you
if
take
you
a
go back
Mashallah, it's got
also-
such personality to it.
if you go back also in the Dhoom movies, right? Even the Dhoom song, like
It's Tata Young and Dhoom and Dhoom
Yeah.
again with Aishwarya and Ritik.
Aishwarya and
Yeah.
Ritik.
At the end of
And
Dhoom 2,
then the romance tracks like Shik Doom in Dhoom 1.
Yeah.
Shik Doom in Dhoom 1 is not bad. As a song, it is really
No,
not
none of the songs are
None
bad.
of the
That's
songs-
the thing, right?
songs are bad.
Dhoom 1, Dhoom 2, even Dhoom 3 has decent songs.
Dhoom 3 has decent
Like,
songs.
They're badly placed and like they have nothing
Yeah,
no
like
business
Bande
being in the
Hai
film.
Bande Hai Muske is like
Sir,
Bhai,
that
just
is just
end.
like a
Bhai, just
it's
end.
like they're literally part of a cult and they have like a
I have
they
that
just
thing burned into my brain
your
of
head.
that in that last scene also as they're falling उसके बीच में भी तुमको
my
ये
nephew
करना है.
my nephew I was watching Dhoom 3 on Netflix. Okay, my nephew was watching. Okay, my nephew just came. He was playing on the mobile. That song started playing. He looked up from the screen for 2 minutes. He saw them falling. He asked a very pertinent question. गिनने में इतना टाइम लगता है?
I was
I
like
mean,
तुमको
the thing
इसके
is-
बीच में भी करनी है.
Yeah.
in Dhoom 3 because you've had to suspend disbelief so much, right? Dhoom 1 and Dhoom 2 don't make you work that hard. Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
also fairly fantastical films, but Dhoom 3 is like everybody is not only incompetent, they are morons.
They're morons. Yeah.
And Amir is Einstein. Without
Which is
the
very
cool
hard to
hairdo.
believe. Which
Because
is very
it's a
hard to
Nolan
believe.
की picture है sir सबको सबका.
And like I mean, I did say that the one improvement from Dhoom 2 to Dhoom 3 is Abhishek Bachchan's sharpshooting type skills, right? Because in Dhoom 2
He's
he's
shooting
dangling
from a goddamn
from a
helicopter.
sniper
But
rifle.
yeah,
He can't shoot a skater.
no. But यहाँ
Again,
पे
it's
वो
Bombay.
revolver
But
लेके
यहाँ
यहाँ पे revolver
pistol,
लेके
he is dangling from a helicopter this time. He's not he's hanging off like a rope ladder. पिस्टल से शूट कर देता है
मेरा
आमिर
तो
को
क्वेश्चन
फ्रीवे पर.
है कि हाउ डिड ही बैलेंस हिमसेल्फ फ्रॉम अ रोप लैडर लाइक दैट? आई एम लाइक क्या हो रहा है भाई?
उसने वो सीडी को अपने पिताजी समझ लिया होगा, लाइक दिस एज टॉल एज अमिताभ टाइप सिचुएशन, व्हाटएवर.
Also really good how in Dhoom 2 he basically gives a salute to his father in that
I mean,
dialogue
yeah, that
sequence.
scene with the two of them, he is he's
That too.
Vijay, which is Amitabh Bachchan always,
Yeah.
and Ritik is Amit, which is
Amit,
short for Amitabh, and like
Yeah.
they're having this conversation
And
about
even in the
10
drinks,
rupee coins.
yeah,
हाँ.
even the drink section when they start the toss and he's like,
Oh, simple. हम वही करेंगे जो मेरे डैड हमेशा करते थे. सिक्का तुम्हारा, बर्बादी मेरी.
I'm like lovely.
And which is a great Sholay reference.
It's very great show.
Again, so then again, these films are. That's why I don't want to lump on Vijay Krishna Acharya incessantly, right? Because his two worst written films are both Amir Khan vehicles. Like Thugs of Hindustan is entirely about Amir Khan, when the story is actually about Fatima Sana Sheikh's character. She
I
is
haven't
more
seen
interesting.
that movie. I haven't seen that movie.
He is merely the catalyst to move the story forward. Like he's this slightly roguish
Jack Sparrow
guy.
types.
He's not Jack Sparrow. He's, I mean, whatever. Let's not get into thugs. Like I'll remember that.
You have only seen, sir. You can go on
You
about
should
it.
watch, yeah. You should watch.
Yeah. Bad
if you
movie
think
connoisseur not watching Thugs of Hindustan is a
Thugs
crime
of
only.
Hindustan is like crime only. Yeah, true.
I know that
So,
one music video from it, and I've seen that, and I was like, this looks like a school play. What is going?
the silver shorts that Katrina Kaif is wearing, that one.
I think so.
Yeah. So
No, but
it's
from there to the Spy Universe, we were talking about the songs like Tiger, yeah. Ekta Tiger's music is really good. Even I
it's
have to admit,
incredible. Like, and I mean,
really.
it's that's also probably the year great music sort of starts to
2012?
taper out in Bollywood.
2012.
Like you get that year, you get the Rahman album for Jab Tak Hai Jaan, you get Pritam on Cocktail, Pritam on Barfi, Himesh on Khiladi 786.
Yeah, great album.
Which is actually a very good remix. It's almost a sampling kind of album.
Yeah.
But it's damn
All-time
fun.
album.
Talash by Ram Sampath. You have some great music going on. And cut to like Dil Diyan Galna Chalo, I'll still give it credit. It's a nice melodious romantic track. Even though Salman still does not look like he's got a romantic bone in him. Really
Now, literally, Katrina Kaif has to do like chakkar around it to bloody sell that it's a romantic number.
Like he becomes such a prude in Tiger Zinda Hai. Like whereas in Ek Tha Tiger, they've got this sequence in Lapata, which is, it's so like the irony of being free in Cuba, the one country they can run away to, is a communist dictatorship. I apologize to all our left-leaning listeners, but I mean it. Lol salam. Anyway, so they're doing the whole thing, and she's just got a sheet on, and she playfully drops it. Now, obviously, that's not in frame, but he doesn't rush to pick it up or whatever. It's just that's there.
He's just standing there.
Frame. He's just standing. Salman, like he's champion of standing around while drivers do their shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
But it's the next film is just because we have a child, we are now both prudes of the worst kind, and the thing is, the child is like
which of the Tiger movies
10 years old by the time of that.
Which of the Tiger movies has a Turkish bath fight sequence with Katrina and that?
Tiger 3.
That's Tiger 3.
Tiger 3. Yeah.
They
Not
should have had
surprising.
Salman
That is
in
the
there.
only thing I remember.
Salman and
Tiger
Shahrukh in
3
the
is
Turkish bath.
such an unmemorable film. It is astonishing to me.
Tiger Zinda Hai, I remember. Tiger Zinda Hai, I remember as a guy who likes action movies, I remember the action scenes being surprisingly not bad. Like, it's sleek.
Except Salman's entry on a quad bike in
Yeah.
the desert.
In those blue glasses that are the
Yeah,
most
like,
blue reflecting thing
he
to
is,
have ever
yeah,
existed.
he's like the guy from High and Low.
Wow. No, my point is, if you are a spy, what is this
Yeah, like-
nonsense?
Like in the first film, he does his blending in is great. He's wearing these very uncle type, almost Shah Rukh from Rabne type shirts. Actually, Rabne is the better Dhoom 3 with Anushka on the bike, right?
Yup, with the music and,
and Tiny.
everything.
And they do the music because, of course, it's the same production house. So
Yeah.
there's that. But like, Salman is a regular spy in the first.
In the first
Tiger.
film, yeah.
Yeah.
The second film, he is Yahi Hamari Aakhri Umeed hai, and Girish Karnad does not look convinced when he's delivering that line. Girish Karnad is educated enough to know दो spy तो होते ही हैं रॉ के पास, एक नहीं दूसरा सही. Like, it's that. So
There
he
is a British
and he's
show-
monitoring spy. He's
Hilariously-
monitoring.
Hilariously,
from-
there used
from
to be a
Australia.
British show called The Sandbaggers. ठीक है, Sandbaggers का entire
बढ़िया
conceit
सर,
is
वही ले आओ आप.
सैंडबैगर्स का इंसाइड कंसीड इज MI5 में MI5 का जो मेन स्पेशल एजेंट्स का ब्रांच है, वहां पे मनी नहीं है. वी डोंट हैव मनी, वी
Right.
कैन ओनली अफोर्ड टू सेंड 2 spies एट द मोस्ट या 1
Yeah.
spy एट द मोस्ट. दोस आर द सैंडबैगर्स. आधा से
Yeah.
ज्यादा सीजन इज बेसिकली लीडर ऑफ दैट स्पाई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बेसिकली कॉम्बैटिंग विद हिज सुपीरियर्स कि
Bureaucracy.
मुझे
Yeah.
ब्यूरोक्रेसी कि मुझे ये स्पाई भेज रहा है, नहीं हमारे पास पैसे नहीं है.
ऐसा नहीं है. Like, I mean, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, one entire subplot is money.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to cut this out because money.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Tiger needs to be John Le Carre, whatever, but it needs to be rooted to the character needs to be honest to what it was to begin with.
What you are saying,
If he
what you are
goes from
saying
spy
though,
to super spy,
yeah, what you're saying though is accurate. In Ekta Tiger, at least there is a groundedness to that entire proceedings. You
like
cannot
he's
shift-
G.I. Joe by the second film.
because
No,
Salman
I,
Khan.
mean,
है
I
ना?
think in Tiger in Ekta Tiger, Salman Khan is a Tiger is just a guy. Like my favorite scenes of
Yeah.
the film are like him standing outside his house with the vessel to get doodh. Like it's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of a thing. It's the dal thing, which in the first one
Very
is like just
yeah.
a thing. In this one, it's the bloody second code of this operation that Paresh
Yeah,
Rawal
yeah,
has memorized. That Tiger अच्छी दाल बनाता है. And like हद होती है.
Yeah, so
It's the
you take
deification.
traits,
It's a
you
deification,
take
basically.
traits and you turn them into some myth making spiel. You're going to have like problems.
Which even movies like Mission Impossible is not averse to. By the way, Mission Impossible does the same thing.
सर वो बैठा है सर वहाँ पे अभी भी सुन रहा है हमारी बातें, मत बोलो.
अरे सुनने दो ना, मुझे क्या है, मुझे पता है वो सुन रहा है, इसलिए तो मैं कह रहा हूँ.
मेरे को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है सर, बोलो सर.
स्क्रीन से कूदेगा सर आपके और मेरी
आई
गर्दन
अग्री
नोचने.
सर, बोलो, नो प्रॉब्लम, और बोलो.
The final movie is egregious on that part.
Oh yeah,
It
of
is,
course.
That
it
is
is
making it
undeniably so.
Yeah.
वो भगवान, उस लास्ट पिक्चर में
वो
वो
भगवान
भगवान
है.
है. उसमें
And he's
सवाल ही
also
नहीं
going to
पैदा
get like
होता.
a cross key kind of. Anyway,
हाँ, वो
So-
उसके
हाँ.
गर्दन में चढ़ानी.
so it's like, and by the time Tiger 3 happens, you're expecting Salman to emote. By now, Salman was about 60? No, not yet.
Not yet. हो जाएगा.
58 ish.
Yeah.
So, and his acting has only deteriorated. Like, as somebody who
I
is.
still think Tiger 3 में, because it is so boring, I think उसका
Sir,
acting
जब वो
was just
रोता है ना
flatline.
Tiger
Just
3 में,
flatline.
my God, that
Sir,
is
we
so
have seen,
bad.
Amartya and I have seen Sikandar. Okay.
Yes.
There is
So we
a
know.
point.
I'm
There's
saying,
a
I'm saying
point at which Salman is
don't compare a
standing.
Salman. That's the whole thing, right? Don't compare a Salman produced project or a Sajid Nadiad wala project. Sajid Nadiad wala is not a filmmaker. Let's be very clear. He's a film producer, right? Aditya Chopra is a filmmaker. He
Who is also
has
a producer.
inherited the legacy of his father. He has made decent films both as a director, if you were to believe Dhruv, which I most of the time don't, and as a producer.
I am also an Adi Chopra fan here, sir.
Yeah, I like Adi
You are
Chopra.
even less believable.
I like Adi Chopra somewhat.
I watched one good film and half of an awful film. So like I'm still like KG. Anyway,
I still think
so
I still think
you
that
still have
DDLJ is very
expectations of
fascinating.
him.
Yeah.
there's still an expectation of the work his production company
Yeah,
is
yeah.
going to put out,
Fully.
as opposed to a Sikandar, right?
But
So when
sir,
the drama in
actor-
Tiger 3 is so bad, like what's the plot? Uh,
Imran Hashmi
Imran
is
wants to
basically,
topple democracy and then he wants to become prime minister. I'm like, that doesn't make sense, yaar. How can you
to
topple
dictator
when there is
banja.
no democracy? How can you be prime minister? That is the whole point.
तू डिक्टेटर ही बन जाना प्रॉब्लम क्या है
No, but what I'm saying is that in Bollywood, because the actor plays such a massive role.
Yeah,
This film,
yeah.
Tiger 3 is what, 23, 24?
23
23, Sikandar is 25. There's only
Yeah.
barely 2 years ka gap between these two films.
Hmm.
So Salman in Sikandar is barely exists. Okay, he is standing around from one scene to the next. So like two years earlier also,
फाइट सीक्वेंसेस में कैमरा हाथ पे कट हो रहा है हाथ पे कट हो रहा है I'm like,
no,
yo,
the
क्या
camera
लगता है?
is moving around because Salman cannot. डांस सीक्वेंस में मोको बॉट लगाया है ताकि उसको एक उंगली हिलानी नहीं पड़े, ठीक है? So when you get even in Tiger 3, obviously the dramatics are going to be bad. I think those are a given. I think Manish Sharma doesn't know how to operate around them is the problem.
I think
Yeah,
that's the
Manish
problem
Sharma-
though. When the star is the central figure in a film, they have to be expected. Like, you know, okay, we got to mention Pathaan because we're missing Sirf Shampoo, aka Hemant. I think Shah Rukh has a charm about him to Pathaan, which is
Oh,
completely
100%.
See,
100%.
tolerable.
Shah Rukh is present in the film. He's
Yeah,
giving
except
a
like when he's in that
performance.
Salman Ganji and he's meeting Dimple Kapadia, and I'm like, dude, your
You're
boss
talking about what
cover up.
Kintsugi or whatever. And
Yeah, like
I
तू
think it's
दुपट्टा पहनकर
literally
आ boss से मिलने, like
that
तेरा
tank top is like
cleavage
so
कितना दिख रहा है?
worn.
Also,
You're like
by
it's
the
barely over his nipples.
also
I'm like,
by the
what's going on?
That should
also
have been
by the way,
censored, yaar.
yeah. Also, by the way, I don't understand this organization only. ठीक है? If the organization
हाँ,
is
नहीं.
one
We will
specific,
come to that. We will come to
I
that.
don't understand this organization.
Those
क्या
are the
है?
specificities of it, right?
So, sir,
Yeah.
saying Shah Rukh has a charm is very different from comparing him Tiger and Salman in Tiger 3. Shah
But
Rukh is present to the
Tiger
film.
in Tiger 1 should still be Tiger in Tiger 2
Yeah,
or
that's
Tiger
the
3,
whole
right?
problem,
Like,
right?
that is the comparison I'm making.
Because
I'm not saying be
like,
Shah Rukh.
like Varun said, we are looking for pockets in movies that are fundamentally flawed. The pockets should also extend to comparisons.
Except in War 2, there's nothing good about it. Except
There
that
is
it
nothing
ends.
good about War 2. War 2 is piece of garbage.
It
Leave that
feels like
aside.
it won't, but it does end, dear viewer, listener,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I watched Coolie after that and had a worse time is truly something about. Says truly
I
Coolie
think
something
is
about
not
both
as bad
films.
as War 2, by the way. I
Sir,
disagree
Coolie is
wholeheartedly.
more boring. Sorry, War 2, my dad and I had a blast just making horrible jokes at each other. Okay? It
No,
was
my thing
amazing.
is कि the main issue with Tiger is a complete discontinuity between what the character started off as and what the character ultimately becomes, and that is because the star becomes more of a focus than
More
actually the
important,
character.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. Pathaan was built
Pathaan and
as
War start off as Hrithik Roshan,
hero
Shah Rukh
vehicles.
Khan vehicles.
Yeah.
They are still bad for doing that
Yeah.
because that's not how you approach this kind of filmmaking. I think
Yeah.
very fundamentally.
But
And
the Tiger fault line is much more egregious on that front because the Tiger
Yeah.
in Ekta Tiger is still a character. By the time Tiger 3 comes around, he is like
It's Salman.
he's the crossover guy in Pathaan, basically. The guy who enters to the train,
Yeah.
music baj raha hai, and aadmi ghus gaya. Which, by the way, I have to say, as a theatrical experience, it was quite fun. I have to say, because
I mean,
all the CG nonsense
the
and
moment
everything.
that I mean, even in Tiger 3, the only moment where I was like, because I forgot that Shah Rukh is supposed to come. The only moment when I sat
Also,
up
by the way,
was when Shah Rukh comes in.
Also, by the way, in Tiger 3, that crossover section was god awful.
It's horrible,
It's
but I was like, at least
god-awful.
something is happening. Okay? I sat
But
up and apart
everything
from
in
that
Tiger 3
drudgery,
feels like
basically.
it's an afterthought. Like the sets are left over from Shamshera and from Pathaan. That first initial bike sequence, him jumping onto the helicopter after saving Ranveer Shori, anything is happening, right? Which is the thing, I suppose, is that okay, villain will not land punches on the hero, cool. But your grammar is so fundamentally different from your first film to your next 4 or 5 films, which is, I suppose, now Ekta Tiger is the orphan of the spy universe, in that because it is retroactively the film that sets it up,
Hmm.
it has a completely different style. Sure, Tiger Zinda Hai is also retroactively an addition, as is War, but they are still, those two are still closer in tone and
I think
approach and all of those
Tiger
Spy
Zinda
things.
Hai
comes
establishes
superhero.
the language, right? Tiger Zinda Hai establishes the
Yeah,
language on which
the,
I think the later films would build.
I think Tiger
the
Zinda also
scale
is
is much larger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tiger Zinda is basically the spy slash superhero. It is like the genesis of the quote unquote spy slash superhero because Salman Khan है वो वैसे भी superhero है उसका
But I
logic
think that
logical
brings
कुछ
us
है
to
नहीं.
a clinical problem, like where Dhoom, despite the third film being terrible, feels like an organic whole. These films, because not until they make Pathaan do they realize this is
Oh, we
something we
can make a
can do,
universe. Yeah, we can make a universe. Yeah.
which is weird, right? Because you've done it with Dhoom, so you
No,
would
but
think that
no,
this
but
is
I
a
think
production house that will have its wits about it
I
and
think
be.
एक बात तो है ठीक है. Very simply, in terms of all this universe building that the studios are doing, they're basically emulating Marvel, right? If you know
Hmm.
Marvel's history, MCU, you would know that the creation of the universe, quote unquote, itself wasn't a thing, wasn't a
Not until the
concrete.
Avengers.
Not until the Avengers, like the Nick Fury section in Iron Man 1, the post credit scene
Hmm.
was very much like an afterthought. It was like just a fun thing. All of
Hmm.
those were fun things. The
But the
fact that
but the but the good thing there, Amartya, was that they were sticking largely to Iron Man to set it up.
yeah,
Right? They
largely.
had Thor come in,
Hmm.
but it didn't, because Thor is kind of in a separate sphere. You're still able to bring them together. Here, the common organization is supposed to be Raw. Okay,
All of them are spies. All of them
first
are
of all, no.
spies. Yeah.
First film, Girish Karnad is the head of Raw. Cool. Second film, Girish Karnad continues in office. Awesome. Third film, War, Ashutosh Rana takes over.
Yeah.
Still, because the universe is not established, we don't know anything about Girish Karnad. Fourth film is Pathaan.
Yeah.
Ashutosh Rana is still head of Raw.
Dimple
Dimple
Kapadia.
Kapadia is head of Joker. Worst name in the world. Worst. Ever. That's besides the point. Fifth film, Tiger 3. Revati is the
Revati.
head of Raw.
Yeah.
And sixth film, we are back to Ashutosh Rana and then Anil Kapoor. I'm like, but wait. How can you have so many heads of this organization at the same time?
Again, sir,
In
that's the
sixth film, Ashutosh Rana's character dies. And then Anil Kapoor comes in.
Then Anil Kapoor takes over. Not like in that movie, Ashutosh Rana dies and then Revati takes over.
Yeah.
So you're like, I think why they cast Revati in that role is because it's a callback to one of Salman's earlier films. I've forgotten what it's called. It's an early 90s movie. Him and Revati starred opposite each other. It's a love story. But like, God, no. Like, do it better. How can everything be like, हाँ तो आज हम ये करेंगे? Salman is making these movies
sir,
also.
that's
What?
the intention problem, right? That I was talking about. It's that in again, Dhoom and Dhoom 2 exist as we have a concept. Let's build on it, right? You don't expect some character in Dhoom except Dhoom 1, except for these
Jay
two
and Ali.
to then come back and then have to be referenced, etc., etc. Like even like you see the universe building problem happen in the YRF in the Spy Universe thing, because the character who's a nurse in Tiger Zinda Hai is then a raw agent in.
She's a raw agent
I think
in War.
they've explained that by way of
retroactively.
Yeah.
But the
she
point
got inspired by Tiger and left nursing to become a spy.
But the point is that there it was just we have a concept, let's build on it. With the spy universe, it becomes now we have to build a universe, and so the intention is very different. And then every film has to be conceptualized in line with this universe, and then that is done very haphazardly and very ill thought. And then the whole
where you need like a head
is
writer, kind of like a Kevin Feige.
You need a Kevin Feige or someone to conceptualize the whole thing as a unit, right?
अगर आदि चोपड़ा रोहित शेट्टी की तरह सोचने लग जाता है कि सिंघम का यूनिवर्स बना रहा है, सो YRF यूनिवर्स वैसा ही होगा, ये मतलब where is the benchmark here?
You are adding Salman Khan's Dabang to the the Singham universe.
Yeah.
So Kareena Kapoor is both
both his wife
Singham's
and
wife
Fevicol
and
say and
Fevicol say, yeah.
say that
Yeah.
can't be the logic to building a universe. No,
no, it cannot, right? Like I think
that's the
that's the
problem with
thing.
the YRF spy universe, right? By that point.
Hmm.
No, I think fundamentally also you want to use these quote unquote Western uh, media creations,
Yeah.
but you're not willing to put in the hard work that Marvel was willing to put into the Avengers and
Also,
into
also by
the
that point,
cinematic universe.
also by that point, like, see, if you are going to create a universe, yeah, basically you need consistency. At least in terms of
Yeah,
like,
like
even if your movie's quality is shit, you need to maintain some form of consistency for a universe to actually make
And I
sense.
think you need a conceptualization of what you are. You can't be making shit up on the fly.
on the
Yeah.
You
fly.
have
Yeah,
to have an idea of, for example, the idea that they had Tiger versus Pathaan as the next film in the series, but they were able to replace. That means that obviously you have nowhere next
yeah.
to go. You can
There's no
just come up with.
planning.
So
Yeah,
that's the problem. So every film has its quote unquote
every
core plot,
crossover,
and then you have to mash in all of
Yeah,
force
every
in all of these
crossover is basically
elements.
a cameo. Every crossover is basically a cameo.
Yeah, but a cameo which only makes the thing more convoluted, more stupid, and
yeah.
just
No,
bloat
doesn't
it.
add anything to it. It doesn't
It's
mean the
also,
film becomes better made,
yeah.
is shot better, any of that, right? I think, and here's somewhere I think Aditya Dhar sort of deserves points. He had one story in mind. However, he may have presented it one part, two parts, too long. I think we agree that the films are too long, but he stuck to it. It wasn't until the Rakesh Bedi reveal at the end of the second film that people like, if get off, like off with you.
Mhm.
Like that is where the patience of people who were committed to even that film,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
they were like, okay, yeah, I'm
people
done
are
suspending
conflict.
disbelief at this point,
No, no,
right?
people are
So
conflating. People are conflating ki realism of Dhurandhar. My point is
no, no,
Dhurandhar is
no, no,
also
no.
not
I'm not,
realistic.
I'm not
Dhurandhar is
getting into
also not
that.
realistic. Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of how you make these films,
Hmm.
Ranveer is also a star, but an actor has to be willing to accept that there's going to be part of the film where I'm going to be in the background.
Yeah.
Fine, the story of Dhurandhar demands it, but then the story of the spy universe also demands that the actor be willing to be the character, like be just that character. Like Kabir from War and Kabir from War 2 are not the same person,
No,
you
they
know,
aren't.
because you've now given him this homoerotic grief for no good reason. Like,
Which
let
which
him
is not
sit and
even
rub one off
mentioned.
to Khalid, if anything. Like
Exactly.
give us a shot of Hrithik Roshan entering the bathroom with a tub of Vaseline and a photo of Tiger Shroff and shutting the door. If that is all that you're interested in.
No, because especially when you're doing this kind of life-altering backstory,
Oh yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
No, but
none
it's
of it
also
in War One,
no,
and
no,
then
but
you are like,
also
no, this is a thing that has fundamentally shaped everything this
Shaped
man
my
has
life.
ever
and
believed.
also there is the fact that Hrithik Roshan in War 1 and Hrithik Roshan in War 2 are fundamentally different characters, but you're also trying to maintain यहाँ पे continuity maintain हो रहा है. वानी कपूर's
Beti.
daughter, बेटी basically, वानी
and
कपूर's daughter
and
is
Tiger
in
Shroff's mother also is there.
Tiger Shroff's mother also in the.
Tiger Shroff, yeah.
I'm like भाई consistency तो यहाँ पे रखो थोड़ी. कौन सा continuity क्या कर रहे हो भाई
The
तुम
Tiger
लोग?
Shroff's mother lives in the fakest fucking Kashmiri house I've seen in my life.
That is the second welcome house in the franchise after
So
the one in Pathaan.
I think I think fundamentally there's a dishonesty to the spy universe films and to the approach to making them more than anything else. Making is flawed as it is, yes. But and this is where the Dhurandhar Paglu should get a bit of a shock. I think Mahi of Dhurandhar is extremely flawed too. The sound mix is god awful, for instance. There are parts where you're like, okay, I can see the green screen Sanjay that was just hanging around
Oh
somewhere
yeah, that was
randomly.
awful. That was
You know, so
bad.
there it's not like those are perfect films. I think when your intent is to tell one story, now the politics of it are a completely different thing, but when your intent is to tell one story and you approach it in that fashion, you're going to end up with a Dhurandhar that people feel like is like, if you not watch cinema, yeah, Dhurandhar is going to be your favorite film, right? I don't think anybody who's watched cinema will ever say that one of any of these films is the Spy Universe films is their favorite.
Because sir,
because
वो
it's not competent
cynical
work at all.
cynical cash grab उनके माथे पर टैटू करके रखा है इन लोगों ने, right?
Yeah.
Exactly,
Every
right?
priority
Nothing.
we say for a film, like a film, that it should be story first, or have a concept first, or have an intention.
That
None of
we
that is
only
absent. It is
no
it
we
is.
only think
Not
that,
just
by
that.
the way.
No,
Studios वो सब सोच भी नहीं रहे हैं. And
I
Not just that,
understood
look at
that.
it
So
this way.
studio like created in a lab, studio films भी होती हैं Hollywood में, legacy sequels होती हैं. Some of them are enjoyable, some of them are not. That's
not,
fine.
yeah.
That's a thing.
PDWP2 not enjoyable.
Not enjoyable.
Eh,
The Top Gun Maverick extremely enjoyable in my personal
Enjoyable,
opinion.
Hmm.
But
I disagree
Bad
with you
Boys
guys.
didn't. Bad Boys didn't get a great reception either when it came out. Right?
Yeah,
Most
Ride or Die.
recently.
Yeah. Those two aren't good.
Yeah.
so that is okay. But the problem is that it's not just that the concept and all is secondary. It's that it is too beneath the film, the entire conception to even think about. The idea is this in the every 2-year quota we need a spy film out. कोई भी डायरेक्टर को पकड़ लो, किसी भी स्क्रिप्ट राइटर को पकड़ लो,
there is no
बना
very
लो
no,
picture.
but there is a problem.
Filmmaking
There is a
style.
problem there also. कोई भी director को पकड़ लो would still be fine. You guys are involving only house directors. वो भी तो problem है. आपको
I mean,
सिद्धार्थ आनंद मिल रहा है या आयन
it's an
मुखर्जी?
old Hollywood. It's an old-fashioned Hollywood studio, right? In that sense, where
Yeah.
they've got a rota of rotating directors.
Yeah.
And again, like the abandoning of Hindi cinema traditions. Again, we can go back to Dhurandhar. It may, I think, lauding that film's album is completely wrong because Shashwat Sachdev has just pillaged left, right, and center. He may have credited people, but remixing के number मैं तो नहीं बांटता हूँ.
He's just more
What he
competent
does,
version of
right?
Tanishq Bakshi, basically.
Yeah. Basically.
No, he's also good music composer in his own right. Like the Uri soundtrack is him. And
No,
the
but
score.
the point. No, but the point.
No,
being
my
what-
my point is this:
Hmm.
it is embracing the musicality of a Hindi film. It appreciates, like when Dhar made his first round of interviews after Uri, he didn't go around saying his favorite film. And I'm not saying a Western filmmaker is your favorite filmmaker is a bad idea. Like, but I think when you're making mainstream Hindi films, there needs to be an appreciation that is overt for that kind of cinema. He straight up said, "My favorite filmmaker is Ram Gopal Verma. My favorite film is Shiva."
Yeah.
Right? So he knows what zone to operate in. He's not trying to say I'm a clutter breaking director. There are other people riding his dick. That's completely different.
Yeah.
But
There
but
is a
he is-
discontinuity. There is a discontinuity. Because
Yeah.
YRF Spy Universe are all based on the Western James Bond
Western,
movies and all that.
but it is not. But what Ek Tha Tiger and what the first two Dhooms did was take that Western sensibility
Yeah.
and marry it with an Indian idea of
And the problem
musicality,
is-
song
and
and
the-
dance, romance, comedy, everything.
The big problem is with like a person like Siddhanand को कोई भी देसी मूवी का कोई डीएनए उसके बोन पे है नहीं. ठीक है.
उसने सिर्फ जिंदगी में मिशन इम्पॉसिबल देखी है 400 बार, उसको वही बनानी है.
उसको वही बनानी है. My thing is, what to me, you can feel Aditya Chopra meddling the shit out of it, especially in the flashback sequence, because that is so much like you said. Manmohan Desai coded to the extent that only Aditya
Yeah.
Chopra could think about it.
Because,
आयन मुखर्जी को
I mean,
घंटा
Ayan
कुछ
Mukherjee
पता है
is
इसके
not
बारे
gonna think
में.
about it, yeah.
Yeah, आयन मुखर्जी को घंटा कुछ पता है.
Which is sad. He comes
इतना-
from the Mukherjee family. Like they're a fairly illustrious bunch of filmmakers there too.
Yeah, but उसको वो सब तो नहीं होगा क्योंकि आप लोगों ने द इलस्ट्रियस ब्रह्मास्त्र तो देखा है. मतलब वहां पे तो
Yeah.
और भी कुछ नहीं है. मतलब सब तो वेस्टर्न कॉन्सेप्ट का पिलेजिंग हुआ है वहां पे. So
And not being able to marry it properly with whatever Hindu mythology you're trying to do.
yeah,
Like it feels so half-assed even there.
No, it feels indistinguishable from like an Orientalist or like a slightly like questionable Western filmmaker making a film. What I would make a film
What I would
set
make in India.
Those actors aren't believable. There's a reason the Nagarjun sequence of the film still stands out to me, because I can imagine Nagarjun knowing who Nandi is.
yeah.
You're telling me Ranbir knows anything from anything.
Yeah, and which is the problem in a movie like What To, which is why it is so bad. Like What To, again, like you said, it is emblematic. It is like a culmination of everything. Remember that sequence in the garage where one of the jeep comes out, like the back
Yeah.
opens, and Anil Kapoor's character is basically standing with the machine gun.
He's basically doing a Ranbir Kapoor from Animal with that machine gun.
Let's leave that part out.
That is a standard,
They
sir.
did not use Animal. They use G.I. Joe Retaliation. Bruce Willis ka entry sequence in that action scene.
No, you got to look at it from the Hindi cinema perspective, right? Where
But sir,
Anil
that's the
Kapoor was
point,
also
right?
in that film. That's the
No, but
That's
point
the
it's
as
also
well.
point.
like
But the
these
YRF
films
movies are not
aren't
doing that.
these films
No.
are nondescript. They don't have an identity. They have
Yeah.
as generic of a blockbuster visual palette as possible. They're lit like War 2 is lit like bloody John Wick with the bisexual lighting of red and green and all that
Arey,
kind of
It actually resembles Kill in some places, and the Dawn trailer vibe from Dawn 3.
yeah.
If you look at it closely a little bit, the
Oh
one
yeah,
with Ranveer Singh.
that was a
But
movie
that's
that
the
was supposed to come
references
out.
you are having to pull. That's not the
Yeah, of
references the
course.
film is making, right?
No,
What you are
no.
saying is
They
there's a
don't have their
difference
own.
between
No, they don't have their
transplanting
own
us.
identity. They
Yeah,
don't have
there's
their
a
own
difference
identity at this
between
point.
taking a style and making a is style ka film in India, which is a film like Dhoom, or
Yeah.
taking taking inspirations from like an
Yeah,
Indian
nobody's
cinematic
saying. Yeah.
history and making like a thing that is in conversation with foreign film, which is say Dhurandhar. And there's another thing
No,
of
which is
just
Dhoom
making
2
that
also, right?
or
Which is
Dhoom
using
2.
so many references from old Hindi cinema
Yeah.
in
But
a
you are,
globe-trotting film.
but in a
No,
globetrotting
but there's
way,
a difference
exactly.
between just making that film on Indian sets, on like a set or globe
Yeah.
trotting or a studio set with Indian actors. That is not
Yeah.
personality. That is just the next in the same blockbuster list, jo Hollywood mein just lower budget and lower competence.
I think also the fact that your music is constantly shuttling between Preetham and Vishal Shekhar. Your cinematographer tends to be Benjamin Jasper, Sachit Paulos. Those guys, are like whoever is on duty that day types. There's an in-house editor.
Jiska number
Choreography is
agla
always
hai.
by Webber Merchant.
Yeah.
The sound chalo, because they're an old-fashioned studio, they're going to have a sound team that is always there and always doing that work. But the costumes are there's no directorial vision, and that's why I don't think, I know Amartya likes to shit on him, but because Sridhar Raghavan has written competent films before this, I don't think the grief is his.
I don't like to shit on him. He made one or two bad movies that are extremely bad.
So I cannot imagine the writer of Khaki is sitting with his head in the clouds, and he understands that it's a completely different space. But I think, given the sort of filmic education and awareness he has, he would still bring in more of that. What pure writers then need, and Abbas Tarwal has written the dialogue for Mehuna and stuff. So it's not like he's a bad writer by any stretch of the imagination. What
I
you need
think
is a director with vision eventually.
like Cris always likes to say, TLDR, too long don't read. The basic point is for what to was a project. What Sanjeet likes to say very eloquently, कि what to was a project. What to movie
Right,
नहीं है,
right,
वो एक project है. Anytime you make a project, always this type of shit is going to happen because like Cris said, intentionality matters. आप एक project बना रहे हो, आप movie नहीं बना रहे हो. आपको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है कि आपको कहानी move forward करना है, क्योंकि कहानी is secondary. What you
Right.
guys need are, what you guys are actually wanting are recognizable parameters in couple of set pieces that can fortunately maybe possibly elicit a sort of reaction from the audience so that they can enjoy. The problem
It is
with
checklist filmmaking.
it is checklist
basically.
filmmaking.
Yeah, it
and
is.
because it is what to थोड़ा homoeroticism डाल देते हैं क्योंकि वार वार में वो हुआ था. The problem is आयन मुखर्जी इतना चूतिया है कि homoeroticism को छोड़ के वो homosexuality में चला गया. And I'm like, ठीक है भाई, fine.
No, but the point? Sorry,
The biggest issue right now is Indian audiences ka metric of enjoyment has also changed after, and as much as we would like to praise, shit, whatever on Dhurandhar, their metric for enjoyment has shifted. They think that a somewhat quote-unquote realistic mold, Dhurandhar is not realistic by the way, but I'm saying a quote-unquote realistic mold, they want more. They want more action that befits a South Indian or a Telugu action movie. You can understand. Like
No, I think Dhurandhar is still very much a masala 70s film in its
A
action.
70s
I think
film.
what it needs to be is genuinely done to that extent.
Yeah.
Right? If you're
And
going
that's
to
a
make
problem.
everything into a cop-out, which is
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
Spyverse films feel like,
Yeah.
if I don't believe that Shah Rukh is doing what he is doing, then I am out of the film at that moment. Right?
Yeah.
That truck top fight sequence in Pathaan, forget the fact that it looked
Generic as
insanely
fuck.
bad.
Bad.
No. the fact that he's trying to like hitch two helicopters
Yeah, yeah,
together,
yeah.
like it's everything I was deriving from that film was part of either broader culture or YRF's films or Shah Rukh's own image and legacy and stuff. You look at the film as it is, and it's badly made. It's got very little about it that you can defend, right? Except Deepika. I mean, and you don't need to defend her. She's got a machine gun.
Yeah, no, but I think in Pathaan at least what I remember, because I can compare that. If you compare Dhoom 1, that above truck action sequence with Abhishek and John, and then you
Yeah,
compare
that's what
that
it's
to
supposed to be
Pathaan.
a DOF too, right?
Yeah, it's a dove to that, right? But the problem is, truck is not on an actual street. None of the cities are actual. Nothing is actual. The problem तो वही है, right?
Yeah.
यहाँ पर you have evolved from suspending your disbelief to ये full artificial है भाई.
Yeah.
I'm like, you cannot do that.
Plasticky, like
Yeah.
Race 2 in a way, which also feels very superficial.
Race 2 is much more fun, sir. Come on.
I mean, it's fun, but it's badly made also. That's my point.
Sure.
Like, they replace a
Yeah,
Lamborghini with a Mitsubishi Lancer.
No, but again,
to
it all comes
I'm
back to
going
me
to
like
say
you.
I'm going to say something very blasphemous. ठीक है? Abbas Mustan ka charm is the fact that none of the movies are extremely well made.
Yeah,
That's
like their bad filmmaking is kind of the point of it. I
No,
guess.
but it's, I mean, on the point of Abbas Mastan as well, funnily enough, it's at what it comes down to what you're saying, right, Varun? It's directorial intent, director with vision, kuch nahi
Yeah.
hai. Like, again, that's why music to me is so emblematic. Like, if you look at the quote unquote good albums this year, it comes from whoever the music director be, it comes from the good albums in the last couple of years have been from competent directors. Sachin Jigar have made god awful music, but you give Sriram Raghavan the ability to direct them, and you get 21 soundtrack.
Yeah.
You get Imtiaz Ali, however his films may be, when he's collaborating with A.R. Rahman and Preetham, they are good albums for the most part, say minus Love Aajkal 2020, and say Main Wapas Aaunga is not a great
That has a
AR
couple of
album.
okay albums, I think.
It's still a
Okay
decent
songs, I believe.
Yeah.
it's even Main Wapas Aaunga is a pretty decent A.R. Rahman album, even if it's not the best work for either of them. When you
Couple of the
have
songs
some,
are nice. Couple of the
yeah,
songs
when
are
you've
nice.
got a director who knows what he's doing, has an interest in the material, cares, then you can get something like with Dhoom 1, Dhoom 2, and with Ekta Tiger, and even with Tiger Zinda Hai, there's a director who's fundamentally interested in the material. They're interested in what they're doing, and they have an idea of what they want to do. Ayan Mukherjee is just the person who's told to fill the director's seat this time, mainly to manage the actors.
Right.
डायरेक्टर सेट पे ना हो तो भी घंटा फर्क पड़ने वाला है, फिल्म बन जाएगी.
I'm going to again evoke Sanjeet here, because Sanjeet once told us a very important thing ki, when a movie is greenlit and when a movie has moved forward, or has the production has progressed for a couple of weeks to
Yeah.
maybe 2 or 3 months, and that this movie is going to be dog shit, you can't stop after a point because so much money has been put in. So at that point you just want to finish it. War 2 feels very much like a movie that they, after a point, they realize that this is a juggernaut that they can't save. So we are not going to shelve it. We just have to finish it. However much possible, we just have to finish it. It very much feels like that. And again, that's not a way. That's not a way a film
Way to
should
make
be
films.
approached. Yeah, that's
No.
not a way that a film.
No,
should
no
be
creative art should be approached that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I think that's what sort of sets up the whole alpha thing, which is it's a new director. He's made the Railwaymen before this for YRF Entertainment, which was a streaming show. So working on a very different scale over here. Alia Bhatt and Sharvari, though kind of got to put up with Bobby Deol again. He's in too much stuff nowadays. Like I miss the days when he was in one film every 3 years with his father and brother, and that was all we saw of him. I'm
Bobby
like
Deol is now
happy
the
he's
hot
not.
new commodity of Bollywood, sir. This is
I mean,
the
yeah, like
reality
you
we live
don't
in now.
want a person to be sitting at home and feeling bad or depressed or whatever. I would much rather Bobby found another vocation. Let's put it that way.
I'm sorry. He
Leave the
started
acting
off,
to Sunny. He's the one with the
but he
gift.
started off as such. This is like imposter syndrome to a new scale. Na? He started off as a quote unquote hero, अब हम सब कह रहे हैं कि
Now
आप
he's a
एक्टर
character
मत
actor.
बनो. नाउ इज अ कैरेक्टर. हम सब कह रहे हैं कि आप एक्टिंग मत करो. देन इज लाइक फिर मैं क्या करूंगा? आई एम लाइक वी
Yeah.
डोंट नो. वी
I
डोंट
mean,
नो.
but
We
yeah,
don't care
that's
also. We don't care
That's for
that
you
much
to figure
also.
out. Just
That's
don't
what
bother us on the weekly at this point.
yeah, really.
yeah.
But no, I think for me at least the draw of Alpha is that it's somebody different. You know,
A
it could well
directorial
be a bad
choice.
film. You know, you don't know. The cinematographer I know is different this time from whoever has done the work earlier. The editor is the same, Arif Sheikh, so we can expect more of the sort of hijinksy stuff
We
as it
saw the
was.
trailer. We saw the trailer, and the special effects thing is still there. It's like
It's still the problem. Yeah, the visual effects are still a problem.
it's a very big problem. And the
And I
fact.
kind of got the feeling that Sharvari was channeling her Bunty or Bubbly 2 character, which I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Like her rapport with Rani Mukherjee in that film, I don't know if that will work with Alia Bhatt over here. Also, the
Also,
dialogue is kind of clunky, but I think the reason I'm really excited is that we have Ali back, but he's joining the spy universe.
I am not at all excited. Only Varun is excited for this.
The
I am
original story
excited
for Alpha listeners is by Uday
by
Chopra.
Uday Chopra. I am excited simply, and Chris did not know this, and Chris is
I'm finding out
utterly
for the
shocked.
first time.
Chris is utterly shocked. I am interested
And
because
delighted.
because it basically keeps a full circle from Dhoom, full circle to Dhoom,
Yeah, yeah,
basically. Yeah,
where he
full
No,
was
and
circle.
the
and you can tell also Alpha is trying to, because Alpha has had a very troubled release, because
oh
it
yeah,
was announced like 4 times, as early as I think mid to late last year.
yep.
And it to the point where the cameo of who's coming, which of the spy universe other characters are coming in the film is generally something that's left for the speculation but never officially acknowledged. Hrithik
It's
Roshan
been
is just in
acknowledged.
the trailer in this one.
Yeah,
But
he's like
he
they're
is in
like
the
yeah, we
trailer.
can't be bothered, but
He's
he's
not
also
just
No,
in the
we're like,
trailer.
no, someone has to come to the theater, because you're
He's
like, if
not
you're
just
not coming for
he's
Alia
not just in
Sharvari,
the
at least come
trailer.
for Hrithik.
He's not just in the trailer. If you guys looked, and I can't take credit for this, a couple of YouTubers have pointed this out. But if you look at where Hrithik Roshan is, he is in a quote unquote Japanese quote unquote monastery.
वो तो clear है sir.
I think from a timeline standpoint, this is taking place before what?
They have found their country of choice, sir, for mythology and everything.
Yeah. I think
India में करेंगे, so somebody will get offended.
it's
No
Japan
Japanese
jate.
person is coming to sue YRF.
I mean, even that looks like very much like what do you
set.
call it?
Nondescript,
The
yeah.
doctor, no, Doctor Strange se kahi se inspired type setting costume.
Kamat type
Yeah.
कमर
scenario.
टच टाइप नॉट लाइक एक न्यू थॉट नहीं आया है YRF के दिमाग में. There other what the other big film that came out of them is Sayyara, which is just Mohit Suri recycling the same concept
सर
as
वो तो
Ashiki.
मोहित सूरी का मूवी आदित्य चोपड़ा ने बोला है ठीक है पैसा डाल देता हूँ. आदित्य चोपड़ा खुद was shocked. I'm like he's like वेट ये सक्सेस हो गया. अच्छा सैयारा 2 ग्रीन लिट.
Unfathomable to
Sayyara
me for
universe,
how
sir.
boring that film is.
I mean, there was also Mardani 3. I mean, that's another strain of action film that they are doing.
Which does
Which is much more
did it make any money?
Mardani
it did
3 I have
decently.
heard. Mardani
Okay.
1 if I remember correctly. Since we're talking about these
Pradeep
YRF
Sarkar.
action movies, why not? Mardani 1 I really liked. Like to the point
I
that
really liked the dialogue in that. I have not watched the film. I watched the trailer. At one point, Rani Mukherjee calls Tahir Raj Bhasin.
देखिए अंडर 19 टीम के 12th मैन.
No, that movie is really good. Genuinely really good. I really like that movie.
Yeah, she's like going around beating people up, and like we've grown up on Rani Mukherjee as a romantic, dramatic actor, occasionally comedic as well.
Yeah.
Kind of new to see her in that
And
avatar,
Pradeep
which is
and
interesting.
Pradeep Sarkar is a good director. So
Good director, Parinita
Good
and
Parinita, yeah,
Naga Chudni Mein Daag, right?
yeah. Oh God, that movie. Yeah, but then Mardani 2 was decent, I would say. I think
That was not Pradeep Sarkar. though.
No, that wasn't
Gopi
Pradeep
Putran.
Sarkar. Yeah, and the villain was the one
Vishal
of the protagonists
Jethwa.
one of the protagonists of Homeland, QID's favorite
Homebound.
film.
Homebound, sir.
QID's favorite film. Imagine QID ka favorite film. I'm not even saying the name right. Kitna favorite hai socho. But the thing about
He's also
that,
in Tiger 3, by the way. So
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
Mardani Tiger crossover cannot happen, hopefully.
Hopefully, वो कुछ भरोसा नहीं है इन लोगों
Sir,
पे.
they will do if they want to do. ठीक है, not happening is our delusions only.
Mardani 2, I
And we
remember.
have much more Hindi film knowledge. They should recruit us to write the next YRF film.
Mardani 2, I remember not liking it as much as Mardani 1. It was still good. Good enough. Like, it was fine. Mardani 3, I don't think I saw more than 10 to 15 minutes.
It's a human trafficking drama.
Yeah, I was bored out of my mind. And the thing about the Mardani movies is like the Dhoom movies. Interestingly enough, the Mardani movies, as much as it is about Rani Mukherjee's character, it is very much about the villains.
Villain, right.
Yeah, Tahir Raj Wazin, very charismatic villain.
Man, he should get more work.
Yeah, man should get more work. Seriously. Vishal Jetwa, very good villain. Psychopathic, very good villain in the second movie. I have heard from many reviews that in the third movie, one of the bigger crimes of the movie is the fact that the third movie's villain is just not good.
Okay. Well, it's
Is it a third movie? Is it a third movie curse for these for YRF at this point? Dhoom 3 maybe same case tha, yahan pe bhi same case hai.
Just don't put 3 in the movie, like Tiger 3. No, don't call it that.
Don't call it that. Yeah, because
I mean, the funny thing is you didn't give it numbers for Tigers in the Hai, then why bother giving it for Tiger 3?
I mean, because
Thoda
what will you call
creativity
it?
to
Tiger
lagao.
Chutiya hai. Like,
I mean, they did Singham Return, Singham again. So do something like that. Tiger
what,
Returns.
Tiger again.
Tiger
What the hell
Returns.
does Tiger
Returns.
Tiger
The return.
अभी भी
But-
जिंदा है.
टाइगर मरते दम तक जिंदा है.
Tiger अब तक मरा नहीं.
And by the way, Tiger मरते दम तक
That's a
जिंदा
line
है.
from Tiger 2 though.
जब तक टाइगर मरा नहीं तब तक टाइगर हारा नहीं.
Tiger मरते दम तक जिंदा है is not exactly a name that can be thrown away because Salman Khan has done movies that have very long names. किसी के भाई किसी की जान. No reason
हम
why.
आपके हैं कौन?
हम आपके हैं कौन? Yeah, so
हम
it's
दिल
like
दे चुके सनम वाले
yeah,
का.
so like do that. Problem.
But now this is devolving into the sort of episode we don't want it to be.
Yeah.
So we are going to call a pause or a halt at this station, which is War 2, and we shall reconvene to talk about Alpha sometime next week once all of us have watched it and are willing to sit down. And
also just to clarify to all the listeners, if you have listened so far, just to clarify to all the listeners, Dhruv, me, Varun, all of us, none of us actually hate movies. As much as we would like to shit on them, we all want the movies to come out good.
Cris, he didn't mention you because you obviously love movies. You watch terrible ones.
You watch terrible ones. Cris is a different animal.
You're not being ostracized or something. Don't worry.
I mean, that's what Varun is saying. I'm not saying that.
Hello. Welcome back to Queen is Dead. This is not going to stay because it's all part of one episode, or maybe it will. Who knows? I am Varun. With me are Cris and Amartya. We are here to put an end to the YRF Spyverse episode with the film that may have put an end to the YRF Spyverse overall, Alpha. Directed by Shiv Rawail, produced by the invisible Aditya Chopra, starring Alia Bhatt, Sharvari, Anil Kapoor, and DJ Lord Bobby Deol.
What should we call her, sir?
इसकी माँ का नाम जानकी था. हम इसे सीता बुलावेंगे.
एक कहानी सुनाती हूँ. एक राक्षस था. घमंड उसका शस्त्र था. वो धोखे से राज करता था और झूठ से जीतता था. एक दिन एक राजकुमारी को अपने घर ले गया. इतिहास जानता है ये कहानी कैसे खत्म हुई, पर इस बार सीता आज लंका खुद जलाने आई. Hi boys. What's up,
It's 2 days since the film came out and all of us watched it. Yeah, it's going to be a brief conversation, I think, which will make at least one person we all know quite happy. But let's go with initial thoughts. Amartya, as the resident action movie buff, what did you make of this much derived but slightly less blatantly unoriginal attempt by YRF to make a spy movie?
The bar is set so low at this point ki if you see original location in a movie at this point, you heave a sigh of relief. That's what I
Yeah.
felt while watching Alpha. I'm like, oh my god, that's an actual forest. That's not made out of CGI. But yeah, that's more or less my overall thoughts on Nikki. It's better than War 2. Then again, most things are better than War 2. So not the high bar at all, but it's better than War 2. It's kind of more interesting than Tiger 3. Tiger 3 is a big ball of nothing. If you compare to all those two to this, it's still okay. I think one of the reservations I had, because Shiv Rawail had directed The Railwaymen, which had one of the most god awful sound designs I could ever remember. I was kind of a bit iffy about his directorial jobs. I think he, as a director, is decent to borderline good only. I think the problems with the movie are much more fundamental, which also includes his own sudden hopping into politics that doesn't jive with the rest of the spy universe and in and of itself. So
Yeah.
it's a bad movie. Nobody is disagreeing with the fact that it is not a bad movie. It is a bad movie. It is just not as bad as people were expecting, and I think that's the key
Mhm.
distinction here. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good place to start off. Chris, you want to uh, plunge the knife in further?
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of us have been like exceedingly charitable to this film. Again, given the fact that it is better than War 2, but I don't have such like charity in me to extend to a film like this. The spy
Yeah.
universe exhaustion is real, and at this point, I don't have points to give for it has a plot, it is spaced, it isn't, egregiously long. That can't
It's a
be the metric on which
location.
I give you. It is a location. That is where a film begins. That's not where I start giving you
That's the
marks,
whole
right?
problem ना कि spy universe में location ही नहीं था time पे.
So I mean, like, I can say, okay, well done on the bare minimum, but that is just like, okay, now you have to then do more because you have shown me that you're capable of doing the bare minimum. Now actually do something with it. So I don't have anything like, I don't have marks to give for that at all. I think on top of that, in the previous half of this conversation, which we recorded earlier, we talked a lot about the politics of the spy universe, and I, laid bare my stance on it. And the turn that Alpha takes, which is entirely disingenuous to the film itself, and it's very blatantly
Yeah.
obvious that it was tacked on at the very end, just makes the whole thing even more miserable. Like, you have the ability to make something which doesn't look like it's barely a film, but then you don't
Yeah.
do anything with it, and then you tack on really offensive, to me personally, offensive politics on top. Then I'm just like,
Hmm.
I don't know what to say, but like I'm even more disappointed to a certain extent that, at least if it was pure incompetence, that's another thing. Now you're saying you have competence, but then you do nothing with it. Then I'm just like, yeah, not for me at all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've finished watching the film and I was like, I'd rather have another round of the first Dhurandhar. For the simple reason that even if some of the making is better, like sure, it is shot on a location.
Mm.
Which location that is, we don't know. But it is not shot inside four walls consistently. Lots of it is, but like it's got a certain visual aesthetic which is interesting again, if nothing else. But and I do maintain that the story credited to Uday Chopra is probably the most out there the spy universe has tried to be at any point. Like it's trying to go in a completely sort of, if not original, then new direction, at least for these tentpole Hindi action films. And then you get the same Thakahara treatment of it. You get this awful melodrama that is just really bad in every way imaginable. The acting is dodgy, and the politics are not genuine to the filmmakers. Like they are like Bombay people, they don't have politics. there's no such thing as good politics, bad politics for them. They're just opportunists, and that doesn't really earn them much credibility in my book either. I had not expected great things from the film, like generally. Even so, I was like, you were going somewhere interesting with it, and then you decided to, give us this Alia versus Lord Bobby face off. I think, and I'm going to begin on this note really, is the thing a lot of these films lack is really a strong villain. Like, if you look at them, each of them, uh, Ek Tha Tiger doesn't technically have a villain, right? It's more like a chase film in some way, with the chasing itself being done by people in the shadows who are anonymous to some level, except Ranveer Shori and Girish Karnad's characters. Then you come to Tigers in the Hai, and you've got Sajad Delafruz, who's playing this extremist cleric turned terrorist leader. Then you've got Pathaan, in which no wait, you've got War, in which the villain Cris, I think you'll agree, was fairly unremarkable pre the transformation bit.
Yeah. Basically
Right, like
non-existent before the transformation.
not an actual like charismatic actor or any such thing. It
Yeah.
needed to set up the whole Hrithik versus Tiger thing, and so it does plastic surgery and basically face off, and Dilip Kumar from Dilip Mehra, I beg your pardon, from Namaste London, uh, jumping in a way. Then you go to Pathaan, and I think Pathaan gives us the best villain of the whole thing, or
Which
maybe
is
it's Tiger
shocking to
Zinda
say.
Hai.
Which is shocking to say when the movie has John Abraham. But yeah.
John Abraham for a villain. But then you come to this, and it's like we get so much more of Fateh's backstory. Fateh is the character played by Bobby Deol, and I'm like, yeah, so like it isn't detailed, it isn't, and he's really bad. Like, awful is not the way I would describe it. He's the pits.
Hmm.
You couldn't imagine this kind of acting, being allowed to pass off for good acting, 10 years ago. It wouldn't have been tolerated. We'd have called it out. Now there's this whole heralding of Bobby Deol for some stupid reason, and you got to put up with him week after week.
Blame
And
Sandeep Reddy Vanga.
I
You
mean,
should
no, I
blame him for a
blame
lot
the
of things.
internet, who was like, we missed you, Bobby Deol, and Soldier, and Bichu, and whatever nonsense.
No, everybody's just nostalgia merchants now. No, there's nothing else
I
left
mean,
because
but
even
you've
the
got to be
industry isn't
nostalgic for the
contributing
good
anything.
stuff. You've got to be
So
nostalgic
that's
about
not
good
how
अरे
stuff,
good का
man.
nostalgia
definition
works.
is relative now, na. Good का definition भी तो relative है at this point. It's
But
like
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
the main sticking point really for me with Alpha was that when it has such an interesting hero story, it needs a much more potent villain aside from like everything in the middle, which is a screenplay written by Sridhar Raghavan and Shomil Shukla,
And
and the
Ishita Moitra does.
dialogue, which is awful dialogue by Ishita Moitra. My God, I'm still recovering from some of that stuff.
Monkji.
Monkji was great.
I was
And
like,
it would have been
it being like visually like reminiscent of Doctor Strange is not enough. Like your plagiarism doesn't like that is one thing. In the middle of that, you have to put this absolutely egregious dialogue, and then Sharvari has to like deliver it. And I'm just like, why are you doing this to us?
oh yeah. When Sharvari realizes that the monk they have come to seek assistance from her and Alia Bhatt is actually Kabir from War, played by Hrithik Roshan, she says, "ये साधु नहीं, फाड़ू है." I hope Ishita Moitra donates some part of her salary for this film to school-going children, so they will write better dialogue than her when they become writers.
But they won't get jobs in Bollywood because writers don't. So
Hopefully not. I mean, if this is the standard of writing, just don't join this kind of job.
yeah.
I mean, but no, it was that, right? Like, they want to do this whole again, this it's that Ayan Mukherjee problem of mystifying your own culture or your own country.
I mean, look,
And
I won't blame Indians or Indian people for wanting their culture or their stories to be depicted in a larger
no, no,
than
no,
life
I'm not
fashion.
saying that at all. I'm saying mystifying it like it is Japan or it is China.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is
yeah.
not, it
That's
is
the
India.
problem. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, yeah. Like
I would have
you,
probably found it more interesting if they had found Kabir being a Buddhist monk under a tree in Bodh Gaya or somewhere, you know? Like, just,
no, no,
I'll give
like
you
Chris, I don't even know. वो मंडाला का क्या चीज है? Like, what the
oh
hell
God.
was that?
No, because these people are not satisfied with giving us like repetitive slop. They want to philosophize in the middle of this, and
Philosophize
I'm
the
like,
slop also.
कितना चूतिया समझ के रखा है audience को.
And
No, no,
Aditya Chopra is
what
like, hold
really
my
pissed
invisible beer.
no, what really pissed me off is the fact that these people are literally ignoring What 2 क्योंकि the Kabir from War 1 is not the Kabir from War 2 and the Kabir from
But
War
sir,
2 is not the...
what personality does this cameo Kabir have? He just has hair that's flying in the wind, and then he
Yes.
does like tricks in the air. What else does he do?
Yeah, he's a
Tricks,
I
circus
don't know what
act.
the
he
difference in
wasn't वो ट्रिक्स भी नहीं
characterization.
है वो ट्रिक्स भी नहीं आई एम लाइक ये वूशा कब से बन गया क्राउचिंग टाइगर हिडन ड्रैगन जैसा चीज कर रहे हैं वो क्या रहा है
Yeah, like, I don't know if I mentioned this on another podcast, but a film I really enjoyed some years ago was Johnny Mera Naam, which is the Vijay Anand film. Okay, in that there's this whole meet cute romantic number between Devanand and Hema Malini. Kent RO purifier hi lagana. In Nalanda, that was a great way to integrate Indian history into the plot of this film that is partially set in India and partially set in Nepal, I think. Okay. Then you go back a little further to Jewel Thief, which is set partially in Sikkim. So there are films that have done this before. The thing is, these people don't even appear to be that well traveled within India. So to them, their main thing of new location still happens to be Ladakh by default. There isn't any curiosity about what the Northeast looks like, or what some
और
part of
लद्दाख में जापानीज लुकिंग मोनेस्ट्री है
which is supposed to be a Buddhist stupa,
Yeah.
I presume. Like, it's just a bunch of very problematic stuff if you start thinking about it.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Orientalism of the chain at this point. कुछ
Yeah,
भी
but
हो
we've
रहा
it's
है.
criticized how
classic
Bollywood
Bollywood
uses.
shorthand,
But then, but
no?
no, but Chris, how is this any different? I would say from the egregious way in which, it depicts mosques. Except over there, I think
Yeah.
because it is more antagonistic, we tend to take note of it more. Like,
Sir,
That's the
I'm
thing.
not saying it as a
है ना?
defense. I'm saying
No,
it
no, no.
as this
I'm
industry
saying
इतनी गई गुजरी है, इनको यही करना आता है.
no, no.
I
My
am not
point is that
defending them.
no. I'm not saying you are. What I'm saying is that over here, uh, because it comes from a place of illiteracy rather than malice.
Yeah.
I think the tendency becomes, hey, these people are just morons.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they are assholes. But then this film is like, but if you give me the chance to be an asshole, I'll also try
I'll
and be
also
an
show you
asshole.
that I can be a very good
Yeah.
asshole.
No,
No,
sir,
not even very good,
are
sir. It's not
they
just an
are
asshole.
illiterate no, they are illiterate assholes, sir. They are both. That is what makes it
Yeah.
worse. Like, they don't
Absolutely.
know and they don't want to know. That is the problem.
That is more
They are
dangerous also. That is more
it
dangerous
is
also.
far more dangerous. Like you were saying about the politics, and like you compare it to a Dhurandhar also. The fundamental point is of conviction and sincerity, right? Like, whatever I can say about Dhar knows and he has the conviction in what he does to do research on what he's representing as well. Like, there might be, at least there is a kind of verisimilitude to what he's doing.
Yeah.
Here,
Right.
they don't even bother with that. They are so happy to rely on the
Please ask
laziest
them to spell
iconography
verisimilitude.
and shorthand.
Ask them to spell verisimilitude. I will wait.
That's what makes it like even more egregious, right? You're like, you can't be this lazy and this ignorant and this like careless all at once, right? That's what
Yeah.
makes it like to me like just even more like again disappointing and like just disgusting than like someone else like what Dhar is that I can just critique as is. Here it's just disingenuous. So the critique is pointless because they don't care.
I think
Yeah, and because
my
it isn't coming from a space of any kind of personal this thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Dhar didn't even lash back at the people who sort of like us, for instance, right? Who criticized him
Yeah.
so roundly. It's because he's like, yeah, you people are there, no, you're talking. I've made my film, I made my point. Over here, the thing
Yeah.
is, we want to make a light, fluffy film. We also want to put in our absolutely half-assed ideas of politics into it. Like, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
even think there's a pass for the sort of ignorance that the films earlier depict, like a working relationship between the Raw and ISI, which might exist through Track 2, which I don't think, again, YRF has ever heard of. But it's kind of like Yash Chopra doing it in Veer Zara is very different, and doing it in these films is very different, especially post 2611. I think which is a watershed moment in Indian history. But even so, you went
Yeah.
along with it because it never really attempted to represent the ISI as wholesale good guys. It was always finding that one agent who was trying to be a force for good, whether it was Katrina Kaif's character, or
Zoya.
Gavi Chehal's character, or Deepika Padukone's character, or for that matter, Amir Bashir's cameo in the third Tiger. But over here, it's just like, yeah, all of that is there. But now, you know what? There are a bunch of Pakistanis invading India and coming to Mausin Ram or Chirapunji in Meghalaya through Myanmar. And nobody has realized these people are flying around in helicopters. Like, who's giving this so called demoted lieutenant colonel so much money that he's able to create a mini militia, private militia, in this remote base? Like,
No,
nobody
they
is
are
checking
like
upon him.
they are like their story is like basically कि चेरापूंजी का section is basically oft ignored. I'm like भाई oft ignored is one thing. Central government इतना भी
Sir,
चूतिया
I
है
don't, I
नहीं.
don't think they're making a point about central government ignoring the Northeast. I'm sorry. I
No, no.
don't think that is where
No, no.
the thing is going.
I am reading too much into it. I'm just saying कि oft ignored मतलब ये क्या है?
What is this Aryan kind of attitude to YRF
No, sir,
that
they're not
Amartya
saying
is
oft
coming up?
ignored by central government. They're saying oft ignored by us. हमको नहीं पता doesn't
हमको
exist
नहीं
तो
पता.
किसी को
अरे
नहीं पता doesn't
वो तो
exist.
कोई point भी नहीं है. वो तो fact ही है. But that's neither here nor
Oh
there.
God, no.
Yeah.
I was also like disappointed with so much of the detailing, like the whole idea that it's going to be a melodrama, this Sita or Gita, Ram or Sham kind of. What was that movie that ripped off the Gulzar short story in its first 10 minutes? Uh, I'm forgetting the name, but it's some movie about like twins who get separated soon after birth because the mother believes one of them is dead. I mean, one of them is actually dead, and she throws that baby into the river from the train, except she throws the living baby into the river, not the dead baby. So, like, I mean, the Gulzar short story is actually quite tragic. I'm forgetting. It's got like a great title card or whatever, but I'm not going to find out. But yeah, it's kind of like that, right? Like, yeah.
Since you brought that up, one of my disappointments with the movie is the fact that when the movie started, like, listen, I'm not going to be the person who is going to take the easy way out and just reference the movies that Uday Chopra, Uday Chopra has written the story, by the way, that Uday Chopra has taken inspiration from.
Sir,
Be it
he
the
is the
Winter
only one who appears to have done any work. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
On the behind the scenes.
yeah.
Who
You
could
know,
have imagined this 5 years
who
ago?
would have imagined this? Yeah, the Winter Soldier. He's taking ample inspiration from Winter Soldier, from Red Sparrow, from La Femme Nikita, whatever. But when the movie actually tries to be that melodrama, that entire sequence in I think it's Beta Valley, right?
Yeah.
Entire
Pelgam.
yeah, Pahalgam, Beta Valley, in that quote unquote safe house, the fight sequence, the father daughters dynamic, the relationship, and all that. When the movie starts to stay in that location, I was like, oh,
Hmm.
interesting.
Hmm.
You are doing something different here. And I thought that if the movie just wanted to stay there, or if the movie just does a much more quote unquote logical progression of moving forward with that melodrama rather than go into where it actually goes, I think the movie would have fared far better than what it has become now, honestly. If the entire motivation or if the entire sequence was essentially a revenge drama for Alia Bhatt as well as a melodrama of a father reuniting their family which had been broken, I think the emotional core of the movie would have remained intact. You know, suddenly
Yeah,
because
because the only emotional core. I mean, I think the film misunderstands that the emotional core is the Alia Bobby drama, but the actual emotional core is the
is
Anil
the
Sharvari
yeah,
No, no, I
yeah,
don't
Alia
Anil
even think
drama.
I think the film goes in that direction only. The Anil Sharvari
yeah,
Alia
I think it
trifecta,
does, but it then
but
shifts.
in my view, the better father-daughter drama or the child abandonment drama was effectively the Bobby Alia angle, which should have been probed more. It is the hero-villain story, right? The other
Hmm.
two are supporting characters in this film.
Hmm.
So you need to take it from there, like not give me this half-assed nonsense
Yeah,
with,
like the
hey, we are in
combat should have
Betab
been
Valley. You remember whose brother's first movie was Betab? And like, Sanjeet
No, but
definitely went. Arey, Sunny Deol.
Sunny Deol, yeah.
no, but sir, it's the idea of what is. I mean, I'm saying it in the case of what
And
is
then
more
he would have
developed,
said,
right?
"Oh, in
Right?
the
Oe. No,
yeah,
Betab was not Oe. Betab is pre-Oe.
Vitam is
Yes,
pre-OA."
Chris, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway,
No, but it's about which is more developed, right? Like,
Hmm.
I'm talking not in the logical progression of the film, but like what is there, right? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bobby
no,
Deol
no,
is
of
so
course, yeah.
bad at carrying out that hero villain arc. I don't care about that relationship at all. Like even
Yeah.
Alia's abandonment is so half-assed that I'm more interested when she has a kind of or she's in that process of reconciliation with Anil. I want to see more
Hmm.
of that. Like even in the like Amartya was saying in that home invasion kind of sequence, I was waiting
Hmm.
for them to stay back and actually have like
Talk
a
for a
moment
minute,
of
yeah.
cooperation and talk, or even like use the action scene as a bit of, can these people cooperate with all three of them cooperate with each other to protect themselves or to protect each other or something like that. And you get the interval moment and then you come back and then they immediately leave, so you build up this moment and then you
Yeah.
immediately lose it to a musical montage which does nothing instead of give you the mandatory
Also,
It,
good,
by the
good
it
way,
movie
what
doesn't
is
shot
do
of
also
the
nothing.
film.
yeah, also by the way, can YRF please stop this now at this point? Like ये क्या हो रहा है? Bikes पे जा रहे हैं, you are going on a treacherous journey, फिर suddenly river में जाके आप क्या कर रहे हो? Calendar girls का posing. हो क्या
No,
रहा
I
है
mean, why
भाई?
leave the bikes, right?
Yeah,
Until and like I think it's because they reach uh the
yeah,
river, but I'm like, surely there's a dirt track somewhere. Like
somewhere.
you are just using this as an excuse to get these women to strip off their clothing and Shiv Rawail getting up and close and personal with the camera and Sharvari. I'm like, dude, this is just lecherous at this point. Like, get your
Yeah.
camera out of like.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
like
it's
again,
not.
like we were talking about with this thing, like you look at the trajectory down from uh your Besharam Rang to this, right? Because
Yeah,
Besharam
yeah.
Rang, it makes sense and it makes
Hmm.
sense in the narrative. In
Yeah.
Avan Javan, it is sure. Again, she's in a
भैया
at least the
मेरे
Kiara Dani is
राखी
in.
के बंधन को निभाना. That should have been that song. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, at least she's in a bikini and she takes the cover up like off herself. Now it is just
Yeah.
leering at them in their undergarments. It gets like progressively worse.
No,
Not even their
it's like वो
undergarments. They're
धूम
like
थ्री में
wearing
it's like वो
sports
धूम
bras,
थ्री
and
में
this guy's
कमली
like,
का song,
wow.
कैटरीना कैफ का introduction, she's मतलब
Again, sir, at
Shiv
least
Rawail just
she's
likes
the one who's
elastic
doing.
fitting clothes.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, like at least in Kamali also, it is the. I mean, it's that it's strange, but it's that agentic question of how it's framed also, right? It's
Hmm.
Katrina Kaif doing the stripping, knowing and performing for Amir and the camera as well at the same time. Here, it feels even weirder because it's just them supposed to be
Yeah,
it's
in
just them doing
like their
these are
montage.
sisters,
undergarments
by
or
the way.
whatever.
Yeah, they're the
They're
sisters. Yeah,
sisters, by the way. They're just randomly like roaming around like this
And
in the middle
supposed to
of
be
nowhere.
2021 or something like that, no?
Alia
yeah.
Bhatt, you will have to
Alia
sell
Bhatt is
Alia
40.
Bhatt to me on a
Yeah,
20 as a 20. She's not 40, so she's your age.
uh,
Don't misjudge her
yeah.
age.
But
I
you
checked
get
it before we started. She's 93 born. You
Yeah.
can't say. Chris and I can make this mistake. आपको जनता माफ नहीं करेगी.
ऐसी जनता
But
बहुत
yeah,
सुन रही
her
है.
and Sharvari as twins, I'm like, they've got to be at least like 4 or 5 years apart. Like, and visibly so. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, why do they have to be twins? Why can't Dia Mirza live like miraculously? Make it more interesting instead of like constantly putting these women in a fridge, uh, and sort of. Also, there's a whole Indiana Jones section. Like, this massive explosion happens. How do they survive it? They jump into a box. Her and
Yeah,
Anil
I was
Kapoor.
like, ये तो
What the hell
refrigerator
was
हो गया.
that?
I was like, ये तो
Yeah, that's the
refrigerator हो
nuclear
गया.
refrigerator from
Yeah,
in the
it
movie
is.
Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
It is what Smeg, वो Smeg वाला बॉक्स था, वो लोगों दिखाया नहीं उन्होंने हमको.
Another thing
just
though is the fact that this movie is kind of weird in that I liked the close combat action sequences. I really think that it relies too much on slow-mo. That's the one problem it has. It relies too much on slow motion. But I really like the action sequences, what they're doing, because the stunt work is done better, at least in this circumstance. The big problem, and this is where Alia Bhatt fans are going to come at me, but can't do anything about it. I strongly can't buy the fact that she is, quote unquote, an action hero in this mold.
right.
Genuinely,
Yeah,
like,
this is probably our one point of divergence also on this episode. In that I buy her.
I had a bit of trouble, even though she's
Okay.
basically like a super soldier, serum induced and all that stuff. Which
I mean, let's not get into the science.
yeah, no.
A Malayali man has explained it to us in the movie. It has to be solid.
Who is a
Malayali
Bengali,
scientist
by
knows
the
what
way?
he's doing.
Malayali man.
Who's a Bengali?
Who is a Bengali? मतलब क्या
Dibyendu
कर रहे हो
Bhattacharya.
तुम लोग?
Or reliable as always, though. To his
Reliable as
credit.
always. He's the one who's bringing the emotion.
Also,
And I'm like,
John, his name is John Varghese. I'm like, John Smith नाम दे देते और like generic होता.
Varghese is the most
It's
generic
either
Malayalam
Varghese
name.
or Korean, like
Yeah.
one of the two, or Cherian for that matter.
Cherian,
like
Cherian,
three.
yeah. John Cherian would have been. No, John Cherian sounds more like a soldier,
Yeah,
That's
John Varghese से ज्यादा generic नाम कहाँ से ढूंढ सकते हो?
They literally put that in and asked AI, give us a
They
Malayali.
asked J.K. Rowling to name a Malayali man.
Exactly.
No, but the divergence here is the fact that even super soldier serum induced and all that stuff, I genuinely think that Alia Bhatt is kind of a bit too petite, like physically. I think Sharvari I can buy a tad bit more in this circumstance.
I just see them as two completely different sort of like a pocket dynamo versus a slightly taller, well-built person. So
Maybe.
it didn't make that much of a difference to me. I suppose the one thing I enjoyed about Alia's performance is that Shiv Rawail does not like linger over her as she fights. She's always fighting in black. So
Also, they
there's not that
forget to play with the quirks of Alia's character in the movie. Like in the first half.
Yeah, like she's in the first sequence, she's like got affectations. She's blowing a raspberry in the middle of a fight sequence, laughing.
They
whatever.
forget to reuse that more and more as
Yeah,
the movie
she
progresses.
has a singular Joker moment and then they forget about it.
Forget about
basically.
it. Like,
No, but with the Alia physicality thing, to say one thing that my brother said quite poignantly is, you can't turn
You
Alia
please
Bhatt
repeat
into
that,
Tiger.
Chris. You please repeat that, Chris, just to
Your
put
brother
yourself
is
into a
poignant.
shock. Yeah.
No, you can't turn Alia Bhatt into Tiger Shroff. I think that is my problem with the action, like her as the action lead, at least with respect to the fight choreography and all. I think, like, again, I like
it's
Jigra
very
quite a bit.
gymnastic.
Yeah,
as
which I
opposed to
think
being
because Alia is stocky, like you can be short, but like have longer limbs and it still work. I think Sharvari again makes more sense because she's got a certain length through her limbs, so that nimbleness makes sense. For Alia, she's doing a lot of flips and things like that, and it's really difficult to buy because it doesn't suit the physicality of her once she's back on the ground and it's no longer the stunt person and it's her again. I'm not, at least for me, I feel that dissonance between, okay, this is this part where you can see her face and she's doing it, and this is the part where, she's turned, her face is turned away from the camera, and this is the stunt woman doing the action.
Which is quite a bit, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is quite
I mean, no, naturally. I mean, like, I think to be fair, like actors are going to act and stunt performers are going to perform
Again,
the
I think
stunts.
we are spoiled. Again, I think we are spoiled because of a couple of actors, trying
No,
to
sir, I
become
don't.
stuntmen. Also, we are
I
spoiled from
think
that front.
No, again,
I
that's
think
not the
I'm.
issue I'm talking about either. I have no problem with Alia not doing her scenes. You have to then
Hmm.
choreograph the action based on
Yeah, the
Alia's,
integration has to happen.
yeah, the
Yeah.
posture, the size,
Again,
the
I think
physicality that she shows in her acting has to then translate into the stunt woman's choreography.
I
I have no
think it's the
problem with someone
problem.
else doing the stunt.
I
Yeah.
think it's the problem which I had spoken about previously in case of both Pathaan, War, and Ekta Tiger is the fact that none of these three characters have like personalities that are distinctive enough
Yeah,
that
they're
you can
discernible
differentiate them, right?
personalities. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only way you can kind of sort of like I would like to kind of sort of distinguish them is through their action styles, and even then I fail because Pathaan is basically limber more, but he's
Yeah.
exhausted. Tiger is the brawler, and Kabir,
Yeah.
what is Kabir? Kabir का तो मतलब कुछ भी हो रहा है मतलब यहाँ
He's
पे तो
into
he's the
He's
husband.
Jadoo,
styles,
sir.
sir.
Yeah,
As
It's
Chris's brother
yeah,
told
yeah,
us,
yeah.
he's
He's
Jadoo.
Jadoo.
He's Jadoo.
Yeah,
No,
You
but it's just
either
like
you either die a
stylish.
Rohit or live
or you
long enough
become
to become
Jadoo.
a Jadoo. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, Chris, you might want to bring us up to date on Jadoo,
Yeah.
aka Red Ritik.
Yeah, this is something. Okay, so the two observations that were made during his cameo. One is he's wearing robes that look like they have, as my brother pointed out, have been stolen from Jadoo. It's like,
I would
that's
like
just true.
listeners to note that these are the only two occasions on which Chris has mentioned his brother in a positive
So
vein.
in a positive
Ever.
vein, in any vein for that matter, but mainly in a positive vein.
And the second is for some reason Hrithik Roshan is still red. Like I don't understand what is happening to him. They
He
started in
just
War 2. No, and the thing is,
yeah.
in War 2, they have the John Wick style bisexual lighting of the red and green. So you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this must be, just the lighting. But then he comes out into the daylight and he's like a tomato red. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. And you see his photos, like promotional photos, like there's when going around with him standing next to Ayan and Kiara. And Ayan and Kiara are like normal skin tone and he's red. And in this film, it's bright daylight and he's still red. I just don't know what's going on. Like, what is he going through
I
some
think
skin
I think it also
condition or
I think
tanning
it
or.
also leans credence to the fact that this movie was shot, I think,
Mm,
parallel to War 2 or before War 2. I think कुछ तो है
parallel, probably, I think.
parallel to
Probably
War 2, yeah.
parallel, yeah.
Parallel to War
Yeah,
2.
They've
because this
spent
film is
enough
also
time
pushed a
on
bunch. No, this
a
film
bunch,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
announced like 4 different times over the course of like a year, basically. I think
Yep.
mid to late last year was the first time they announced it. Then it had a December release date. Then it had a early, I think April release date or something, and then it got pushed to
And this is
June,
also the
July. Yeah.
closest to, I think, no, not the closest, but the second closest two of
Yeah.
these films have been to each other, right? With the shortest time between two films is Pathaan and Tiger 3.
Yeah, that was very
And
short. Yeah.
now that was about, I think,
January
that
and
was also 10
November.
months.
Yeah,
And this is also
October.
about
Yeah.
11, 10 months. So,
Mm-hmm.
and the turnaround is fast enough. But again, I don't think they've still sat down and thought of where do we want to take this, because they're not signing on capable. Like Kiara Advani is gone now. When Anil Kapoor
You are
made
not
that
going to get him back.
employment offer at the end of the film,
Hmm.
he didn't say that won't you join like Kabir, Tiger,
What was
Pathaan, and
Kiara Advani's
Kavya.
character's name? I
Kavya.
forgot also. Oh, what's
Kavya Luthra, no?
Okay.
Yeah. So will you
Forgot
join
also.
all four? No. She has quit the profession. She's just going to hang with her brother Ritik.
Or brother.
What is this family bonding session now you are doing, sir?
I mean, we established this in the first half of this recording that they are very brother sister coded. The
No,
siblinghood
Ritik's
is
love
strong.
interest in War 2 is NTR Junior. That is not even a
Yeah.
debate.
I mean, his love interest in he is Tiger's love interest in War One.
Yeah,
Tiger is
War.
not his,
Yeah, Tiger is
but
not his.
just War, whatever we want to
Hmm.
call it. But I mean, mostly I'm just exhausted by the idea of these movies now. I'm like, yeah, okay, if you're not like, I think again, it looked distinct enough in some ways, like, but I didn't like the way the action was shot. I
Yeah.
found it terribly cluttered. Action should be, even if it's stylistic, I think it can be cleanly done and properly done, especially when your whole filmmaking is about polish. and about a certain uh, aesthetic to the whole thing. This sort of clumsiness of putting stuff together suits very specific worlds. Like if you put it in a Satya, it is believable. You put it in
Yeah,
a
where
Bombay
the
movie, it's believable.
where the untidiness is the point, because
Where Jigra, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Satya is not supposed to be like a trained assassin. She's just a really desperate older sister who will stop at no, uh, you know, at nothing to get to her
And by
younger.
the way, Jigra, better Alia Bhatt led action movie. Honestly,
Better Alia Bhatt performance also, better
Yeah, yeah,
direction,
absolutely.
better everything, music.
everything.
You can't fault Bala's conviction of filmmaking.
Yeah, I mean, as
And
much
I'm
as
not
I
I'm not a
dislike,
Vasanmala
yeah,
fan, by the way. I am.
I
neither
am
am I. And
like,
as much as
Yeah.
yeah,
these
as
two
much as
don't
I have
like him much.
issues with Bala's, even like dialogues, he's not going to make Alia say, "Ye sadhu nahi fadu hai" or whatever.
Yes.
So like the basic filmmaking competence is there. And here, that's the thing. Like even with action, you're saying, I think the problem is that you can't see half of what is going on. And that is to me has been a big issue with like a lot of action sometimes in
But I
Bollywood films.
think
Where they're like,
I mean,
they
no, I
think
thought the lighting was
I think
fine.
Chris, यहाँ पे I think the lighting
not
was far
not
better. Huh?
not lighting,
Oh, you
shaking the
mean
bloody
the
camera.
moving the
Oh,
camera?
Yeah, I'm like, I can't follow the action sequence because I'm like, I can't see like who is she hitting, where is the
Yeah.
what is the combat actually taking place. And again, they do like in the first action sequence, I think that's where they put the most effort. There's one or two stylistic shots where they mount the camera on the or next to the rifle, so you get a
Yeah.
couple of those POV shots, and then that is completely forgotten, and then you get the very generic action sequences for the rest of the sequences with especially the Bobby Deol, Alia Bhatt, the big climactic
The big
action
fight
sequence.
sequence,
By then it becomes more and more generic. It becomes harder to follow. Then I'm just
I
like,
did like the
there's
fact
no
I did
person.
like the fact that the fight scene basically ultimately took place in a trench. I think visually that is a very different place actually.
Sure, but
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it's part of a larger whole, right, Amartya? I think it's
Yeah.
just boiling down to another convenience of production design. Though that first bit of that long action sequence did sort of remind me of, and I cracked this joke on the group, so I'm going to say it again. Like when he gets wrapped up in all that barbed wire and he's bleeding and there's everything.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just went, Jesus Christ is Bobby Deol.
I mean, I was reminded of Sarzamin, which has a very horrible action
Oh,
sequence.
Written by
God.
Shomil Shukla, who is the
Yeah,
co-writer of this.
Yeah.
Inside a warehouse where the villain is fighting and all like very similar
Villain is Kajol.
looking. Villain is not Kajol. Villain is Kajol is having a fight
Spoiler!
sequence elsewhere. This is
People haven't seen this movie.
Nobody is watching
Nobody should
this
see
film.
it.
So
Yeah.
Prithviraj and Ibrahim Ali Khan are fighting each other in
Okay.
another like it's
Oh yeah,
two different
he has got
warehouses
plastic
made-
surgery. No.
Nobody has got
He
plastic
was
surgery.
kidnapped.
Nobody has got
Okay.
plastic.
He's kidnapped and then he comes back and then the father doesn't believe this is my son.
Yeah. He thinks he's gotten plastic surgery, but it is Ibrahim Ali Khan only.
Acha, okay.
But so there's two parallel fight sequences happening in two different warehouses, and they all look the same.
Oh yeah,
So-
the whole thing of having to cut from one action sequence to another is a big problem here also. Like
Yeah.
Arif Sheikh is the in-house editor for these films. I think he needs to take a break because boss, this is not working. Whatever you're doing, like Yash Raj need to go back to whoever edited Dhoom and Dhoom 2. I think Rameshwar S. Bhagat, but he's also edited like Tiger 3. So maybe it's just a YRF problem. Everything is really a YRF problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
Ultimately.
fully. Everything is a
It's a systemic rot. No, it's at what we've come to at the end of this is it's not each individual film's problem. It is a
This is
fundamental
Chris's
problem.
problem. ये नहीं है कि
problem ये है कि YRF है. That's the problem.
but yeah,
Oh God.
again, like it's just so unmemorable. Like it's 2 days after the film and we're struggling to be coherent about it beyond a point.
Also there is one thing that was memorable to me, but Varun has some issues with it, is the fact that I think Anil Kapoor is the best part of this movie, which
Yeah.
is
I don't know, sir. He is
I'm
like,
with
yeah,
Amartya
whatever.
on
I
this.
don't care.
Yeah. I don't know,
He's
man.
not
I think
good
he's
enough for
really
me to be like, yeah, sure, whatever
Sir, it
goes,
is.
uncle.
This is the one place where I'm giving marks for bare minimum. Like
No, no.
Anil Kapoor is
No, I don't think he's giving
competent.
bare minimum. I think
Not
he's
bare
actually
minimum. I
giving a
mean,
good enough performance. That's the
yeah,
thing.
he's competent. He's giving a decent performance, and everybody else is giving less than zero kind of a thing. So like, yeah,
Mhm.
this is the only part of the film that you can actually like rely on. Okay, when the camera's on Anil Kapoor, you're not going to actively cringe or like want to curl up in your seat and die when you're looking at the screen.
Hmm.
I would like to agree with you, but it's just that I have never found him to be that memorable a presence in any film. I need him to like act well enough. And here the character is like, again, I go back to the whole thing of the raw chiefs need to have something to them. After Ashutosh Rana, this is a significant step down. Like he was this acerbic, sarcastic boss who was like,
I think
you people.
I think he was a step down in what too. I think यहाँ पे थोड़ा redeem हुआ है. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe, sir, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I find it too
Again,
dull and
again, we are
too.
all grasping at straws here. Movie straw से ही बनी हुई है. We are all grasping at straws at this
Yeah, that's
point.
true. I mean, the
I mean,
film's also not done particularly well money wise or critically. Like the
yeah.
Alia Paglus that are Dhruv Krishna Goyal and Rahul
And
Desai
others.
are not particularly pleased with the movie. So you
Yeah.
I mean,
can tell
it's
that
a
the writing is on the wall.
strange film also, right? With respect to like the rest of the spy universe, also strange politics, strange pro-life propaganda in the middle for like in
Like
the
I
beginning
joked,
for no reason.
I joked that they basically jumped. He basically Dhruv was saying that they basically jumped the boat with regards to politics. I'm saying they did not jump the boat; they just hopped a bit. That's all they
No, they
did.
jumped over the boat into the water, sir. Like
They just hopped.
they're covered in seaweed at this point. It's just like abysmal. Like a kindergartner has more conviction in what they believe.
Also, by the way, that flashback sequence, I'm sorry, nobody is buying DH Bobby Deol. That was just funny.
I mean, nobody's buying DH Anil Kapoor also, sir. Like
Arre,
also
DH,
DH, they keep putting these people in these ugly mops on
Yeah,
with on top of their
because
head. Like
the longer hair makes them look young. They
no,
think
but
the longer hair makes them look
Anil Kapoor, though,
younger.
I have to say, even Anil Kapoor, though, even if he's DH, at least I can buy him thoda. I can't buy Bobby
hmm.
Deol DH.
I mean, the whole thing is again, it goes back to can you please start hiring better villains and writing better villains? Like, in the hands of a Sikandar Khair, this character would have been so much fun. Like, in
Yeah,
the hands of a Jedi Pehla, but you want,
Yeah,
like, I'm sure if there is another spy movie, that is going to have Akshay Khanna.
there won't be, I don't
I
think so.
don't
oh,
think there will be,
100%.
but if there
But
is
yeah.
one, then Akshay Khanna will be the villain in that, and he'll be like some
Akshay
rapacious
Khanna will
drug
be wait
dealer
for
type.
it, Bare Sahab.
Or you will get an Arjun Rampal, one of these two.
I
Arjun
mean,
Rampal is the guy with the most range in terms of politics, by which I mean to say he has no range.
Which means
Matlab,
he doesn't have a spine,
yeah, he's
basically.
also the no, he's also a thali ka and he's like, sir, I will sit with you. You tell me where to sit.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's us all talked out. Unless you guys have anything more to add on the Marvel that is
सर
Alpha.
अभी तक 1.5 दिन या 2 दिन हुए हैं. I've already forgotten about this movie. मुझे और
Same, same,
कुछ नहीं
same.
कहना है. I had enough.
Chris, any further? You
I
you
mean,
should wax eloquent about Sharvari. I'm giving you the floor for 2 minutes.
I mean, there's not much to like wax eloquent about, but I think like the current ilk of actors we have bitched about endlessly when it especially comes to like younger mainstream
Yeah.
actors, and there have only been two actresses who have come out unscathed for me at the moment. One is Shania Kapoor, who I've seen do two performances, and I've not minded her in either. And
Tuya mein
Okay.
she was actually not bad. I
so
was
yeah, man, she
shocked.
was actually not bad. And Aankhon Ki Gustakiyan is a stupid ass film, but she's actually not bad in that either. Uh,
Okay.
but I mean, again, I'm the only person in the country who has seen that film, of course. But the other is Sharvari. I liked her in Veda, which is again a very strange film.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that is true. Even I liked her in Veda. Veda is one of the
Directed by
movies.
Dhruv's favorite filmmaker Nikhil
Jay.
Advani.
Again, it's like the first half is so good and the second half then becomes a John Abraham action vehicle. I'm like, क्या कर रहे हो?
Again, it's the classic to the point of they gave John Abraham like they hire Tamanna for 2 days to give him like a backstory trauma so that he doesn't have to do acting for the rest of the film and he
The
can just
real
be
film
stoic.
universe is the John Abraham's dead wife universe.
Exactly.
He has a lot of dead wives in these movies.
No, not even that. It's the John Abraham patriotic espionage movie universe also. He has a lot of those also.
Those also he has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's the
so-
original Akshay Kumar.
He's the original. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And she is one of the more pleasant parts of Main Wapas Aaunga, which
Yes.
I have lots of thoughts on. But
You mean
even
issues.
here-
You mean issues. You misspelled
Yeah.
issues.
Yes, but in this film also, I think she's again to make a blasphemous comparison, she's doing the kind of Anushka Sharma out of Jab Tak Hai Jaan kind of
Yeah,
quirky thing,
which explains why I don't like it.
which I am very fond of. I really like that kind of
You know,
like,
that only makes me miss
bubbly.
Anushka Sharma more at this point.
More.
Absolutely, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like I think she has a good balance of it. She's got a bright bubbliness to it, which is a good contrast to Alia's stoicism, which I don't think she sells particularly well, especially given the horrible dialogue she has to keep spouting all the time. But I think she's got that presence to her, which again makes more sense to me in an action film, physically, in the kind of just I think she's much more convincing to me as the kind of quirky action star than Alia is as the stoic action star, though she can do it in Jigra, but the script doesn't give her the ability to do it here.
I mean, Jigra also, the emotion register is completely different, right? The desperate older sister trying to save her brother from the death penalty in a foreign country. The stakes are supremely high.
And I think it plays to Alia's dramatic strengths, right? That's what
it
works
does.
there.
It does. Like her ability to like just perform the fuck out of a script is what makes her a good actor. No, I didn't like Sharvari, as I mentioned again. I reserve some of my better quips for the group, but she's like basically peak bubbliness Preeti Zinta plus peak bubbliness Anushka Sharma on unadulterated cocaine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I did not, and I've only seen her in Bunty or Bubbly 2 before this, which is a travesty.
I
of a
think
film.
I don't know if it is.
Yes, sir, just start making original films again. Stop making
Yeah, please,
sequels
please,
and shit,
yeah, please. Also, I think it's not
Sir,
a
when they
pertinent
make
question.
original films, they make Sayyara, sir. I don't want that either. I mean,
That's
that is
better
also a
than
remake.
Bunty or Bubbly
but-
2. That's
but
better than
I
I
mean,
Bunty or
I've
Bubbly.
seen
I
so
think
kind
the
of
quote unquote matlab, statement only is the fact that even if we don't want to admit it, I think advent of movies like Dhurandhar has soured a lot of people towards more of these bubbly sort of spy movies. I'm calling it bubbly because most people tend to call Dhurandhar
Frothy.
realistic, but Dhurandhar is not realistic.
I mean, but Dhurandhar is realistic to its own terms, right?
To its own terms. Like
yeah, I
it
mean,
is
it
convinced
becomes
of
a
its
bit
verisimilitude.
stupid towards
Yeah,
the last 2 hours of the second part.
It is convinced of its verisimilitude. That's the one of the things about
I just
Dhurandhar.
think there are different types of spy movies also.
Exactly.
Like, the West also has a Mission Impossible. It also
The
has
West has a
James
Mission
Bond is not
Impossible.
realistic.
West has Mission Impossible. The West has James Bond. The West had Harry Palmer. The West had John Le Carre movies. So it's like
so it's like a whole range of stuff
It's a whole range of stuff.
available.
Yeah,
to
but I think
be
after
made
the
and watched.
advent of Dhurandhar, I think Spy Universe gets a beating, and I think getting the beating is the fault of the audience, is the fault of people who don't want to widen their palette. But I think the Spy Universe also deserves some of the beating because they are mostly so incompetent. I think some of
Right.
the beating is very much so justified.
I mean, it's
No,
it's a studio problem of these people want to maximize the diversity of style, or this thing comes when both the audience and the studios are willing to take a certain risk and do different
Yeah.
things, right? Bollywood is so risk averse at this
Yeah,
point.
at this point it's like,
And like you said, like you can tell that the politics of Alpha so stacked on. You know that they saw Dhurandhar come out and they were like, okay, this is not gonna work if we go the route we probably had planned originally. So we're just gonna do the reshoot and do what they did, but much worse. Like they just want to copy each other's homework in the hopes of making a fraction of the money that each other is making, kind of a thing.
Yeah. But disappointing, I think, from Yash Raj especially because it was billed as this big female-led action film. I don't know why they keep calling them girls. These are women or ladies or whatever.
Also,
The
female-led
whole,
action films, and you don't buy their chemistry at all.
I mean,
At
though
all.
there's not supposed to be chemistry between them. This is not NTR and Hrithik sir.
अरे no, अरे basic थोड़ा chemistry तो दो यार.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
वो
they
भी
should
नहीं
look
है.
like they're interacting with each other in a frame, not like doing their like acting on either side and
yeah,
just
yeah,
running
yeah.
along.
But it's one of those, oh God, why can you not do even one thing properly kind of situation that has
Yeah.
sort of come to pass. But yeah, that's us all talked out on Alpha and the Dhoom films and the Spyverse. This can be a nice little thing for people to listen to if they want to, because I don't think we're going to sit down and ever discuss any of this stuff exhaustively. Dhruv is very clear that his elitist image will take a beating if we discuss all this populist nonsense.
And this is coming from Dhruv.
I mean, he is elitist and we are kind of populist. It makes sense.
No, we are also,
But
and this is also coming from Dhruv, the person who likes Hindi movies to the extent that he's a Kejo fan. I'm sorry.
sir, the line "Teri puja karu main to hardam" is Dhruv singing to Kejo only. But we don't know that. He's just not told us. Nobody.
Yes.
That's why he's not shown Chris's mandir. Anyway,
Anyway.
yeah, khatam.
Khatam. It's so close. Stop the recording, right?
Stop
Just press
recording.
Stop the
कर दो,
recording.
sir.
Stop recording.